to start out, you all are in a small uh, tavern on the edge of what is a great forest that everyone knows about. It is called Tithiril. And there are many, unknown ruins and various monsters and things take up residence in it, and there are some basically some it's the edge of civilization that you are currently on, and going into this forest is the land beyond the sort of empire or uh, kingdom that you are currently reside in. But we're not going to focus on that. We're going to focus on the things that you guys came here to do, which is sort of to become either rich or famous, or go into this forest as maybe a what's like as a journey of faith or something like that, right? Like it is a thing that many people do. Some come back, some don't. Some go in once and then don't and then don't return because they weren't prepared. Um and the stories of the things that people find in this forest, uh they are sort of vast and kind of don't make sense. Like one person will be like, "Well, I went straight into the forest and I found a singing rock, and it told me the way that I was gonna die." And then another person will like, "Well, but I went into the straight into the forest and there was a nymph and she kissed me and then I was on the edge of the forest again." Right? So like things kind of don't make sense if when once you go into this forest. You four are sitting now in the one of the many taverns that sort of are scattered along the edge of the forest, that have seen their business as sort of jumping off points for adventurers, or treasure seekers or the like. And you four sort of like were gathered here by a man who is willing to put up your, basically be your benefactor. He is just a human of sort of regular build, one of the many merchants that you see along this area, because lots of people go in and out of go in and out of the forest, and that is where you know people like him make his money. And his name is Rivar. He was just sort of posted one of the boards, like looking for group of adventurers. Take one of those, like, take uh a nubbin from the paper things. You went to him and he was like, "Okay, meet me at the tavern on the edge of the forest in 3 days." You all did that separately. You are now sitting at the table, and he has sort of given you things that you have requested, and is now telling you about the deal that you are making with him. And he sort of continues on. Well, the forest, as you know, is rich with goods and things. Anything that you bring back will be we'll split uh, the payout. I will try to sell things, and um, you can expect 25% cut of the greater collection of things that you bring back, and I will take the lion's share of it, obviously, since I'm already affording you a large amount of equipment and whatnot as you are going in. I understand that each of you are separate entities in this endeavor, but I would appreciate it if you could all work together so that we all might benefit from this arrangement. And then he sort of you're all sitting down at like a just like a tavern table, and he sort of like looks at you all expectedly, sort of waiting for you all to nod your head or say something in return.
Okay, so before we get started, so we all have we okay, so we've obviously met each other at the table. Yes?
Right. This is where you're meeting.
Okay, so we haven't met each other prior to this moment in time. This is where we're meeting.
Right. You've been sitting at the
Okay,
table together for a very short amount of time
sure. Okay.
before Rivar is speaking to you in this way.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
Hmm.
This is where you pipe in, Max. This is where you started us off. You have to
Oh,
be
I'm kicking this
the
off. I
head.
talk a
You
lot, so
have
I
to be the
was
headstrong,
all right.
tanky
Okay,
tank.
sitting at the
Maybe
table.
maybe yeah, describe your character as you speak up,
Yep. Here we go.
and you will go around.
All right.
So sitting at the table, you're gonna see a really large Goliath. He is about 7.5 feet tall. He's wearing a lot of chainmail, and then speckled and kind of engraved throughout his chainmail in parts that are a little bit flatter, or maybe just like a piece of metal like around his shoulder maybe. You see a lot of like strange holy symbols kind of engraved into his armor. He has a long sword at his side, a shield that remains hooked on his back. He kind of walks with a really large quarterstaff. It kind of has weird little notches and engravings all over it. It doesn't really make much sense. You see like a bird, like a leaf here, a bird there. You have the sun kind of engraved on the top, and it looks as if maybe on the very top of the quarterstaff there used to be a like something fastened to it almost, but it's kind of like it's broken off maybe, or it's missing, or maybe nothing was ever there. But it just almost looks like something should be there but isn't. He's completely bald, has a large beard, and he has these like gray and black tattoos kind of all over his body, his arm, like if you see his wrist and hands and forearms, his face, they kind of crisscross around like the back of his neck, even going down. Um, and as he sits at the table, he sits up very straight, kind of very proper, and he kind of keeps his staff. He kind of moves it from like being on the ground to like on the table, and he kind of looking around, and he's listening to Rivar speak, and at the end of his speech, he kind of looks up and just nods his head in acceptance of the terms. Then he remains quiet.
And he remains quiet. So Nadja is obviously much smaller. I haven't determined her height yet, so you guys don't get a height like the Goliath over there. But she is obviously one that has been in the forest for a great deal of time. She has a lot of scars about her face. She has freckles, dark hair, but she's obviously fit for the forest. Her clothes look like they've been tattered in some areas, stained by the earth, like dirt, maybe some moss or something, like she's brushed against the trees. On her back, she has a quiver and her bow, her long bow. On her body, she has, obviously leather satchels all over her waistline because she keeps various things. She may not look like she is much of a fighter, but it is clear that she has probably seen some things and done some things with her life. And she is also pretty fairly quiet and sitting next to the Goliath. And so, probably when you're looking between her and the Goliath character, sorry, Max, I don't remember your character's name already. They probably look very mismatched because she's probably very, very small and he is very, very large. But she also nods her head in agreement to the deal.
Mm-hmm. Good. He looks over at the oh Sam, is your character in human form?
Yeah, human form.
Okay. So you look over and see two humans who are sitting opposite the both of you. One of them looks a bit more disheveled than the other. Sam, why don't you go ahead and describe your character?
So, at the edge of the table, there sits a quite tall man, around 6 feet, in dark black clothes with like a hood over his head, like a cloak, and he's playing with like a dagger, like twirling it around as he like nods and stares straight at the quest giver. Forgot his name.
Rivar. Rivar.
Rivar. Yeah. Rivar. He stares at him with uh his piercing bright yellow eyes, like eyes of a cat. He stares at him. He looks around, looks the Goliath up and down, and the little half elf, like scanning up and down how they look. And he has long white hair with a short, like stubby beard, and whiskers on his face, which makes him odd. He's like trying to like hide his face from the rest of the tavern, looking a bit like skittish kind of. And yeah, he nods his head to like the deal.
All right. And finally, Austin, would you describe your character and how they look?
Yeah. So Ansgar is sitting there initially with a rather stern yet emotionless expression on his face, rather large for a human, 6 foot as well. Very pale, silverish gray hair and gray eyes. Uh, Not the most youthful looking person ever, uh, but draped in chainmail, mace at his side. Says, happy to help, and then goes immediately back to his stern and emotionless expression.
All right. Rivar looks you all over and sort of nods as well, looking back and forth, nodding, and it's like, good. Well, maybe we're not the most talkative group, but I hope that you all can perform your duty. And, um, there are things in that forest that I would rather have the uh, the strong, silent type than the boisterous fool. So I appreciate all of your help. And yes, let's do some outfitting. If you require anything, do not hesitate to let me know. I'll be over at my cart for the rest of the day. I only have a few things that I might be able to offer you adventuring wise, but feel free to come over and look and see if there's anything that strikes your fancy. Here is your advance for outfitting. There is, and he takes out a pouch and sort of jingles it a bit. There should be 100 gold coins in the bag, and he just places it gently on the table for whoever to grab it. If you require anything beyond that, I would perhaps consider a loan into your assumed prospects that we will be bringing back out of the forest. Um, Let me know if there's anything I could get you, and I will see you shortly off as soon as you are done. And then he gets up and trundles over to the barkeeper and pays for the table worth of drinks, and then heads out to his cart, which you can see sort of a bit of from where you are sitting. And as you look out into now the sort of pan outward into the tavern, you see sort of a rustic, dingy, but well kept, in the sense that there is always a seat for someone who is coming in. The tables are cleaned off whenever someone gets up, and it has everything you would need to sort of have these sort of meetings that you both are, or that you all are having at the moment. And you can kind of see here and there amongst the roughly 15 tables that are in the middle of the area, there are just a few characters, maybe a few vagabonds who look like they've been traveling for a while, and they're just settling into life at the edge of the empire, next to the forest. And the tavern keep, who is a sort of a rotund dragonborn, with he is a silver scaled dragonborn with a few of his own armaments just stuck on the wall behind him. And he comes over. You can't really hear what he's saying, but he takes care of the people who are coming in, and then lets them lets them do their own thing as they're coming in from probably a long walk from the next town over. And you do see a couple of other tables that look like they're having meetings similar to yours, as if this is somewhat commonplace here at the edge of the forest. People go in and try and make their fortune. That's sort of what people are here to do, and everybody knows it. And then we continue to pan outward into the street, and there are only a few people walking around, but you see Rivar go over to his cart. You can see the edge of it, and it's a little flamboyant for a merchant's cart. It's got bits of cloth, colorful cloth, hanging down on various parts, like little banners or pennants. And then it's got like an awning that would keep you out of the rain if you were browsing his wares, and just a large open window that you can see in. And there's one horse tied to the front of the cart that he goes over and pets, and then steps into the back side of the cart, where a couple of people seem to be uh, perusing the wares. And you can almost hear him start up his sales pitch as you move your eyes backwards towards each other. Um, what would you guys like to do at this point? You have a run of the town and 100 gold pieces
Quickly
amongst
snatch
yourselves.
the bag of gold.
Okay.
So
you-
yeah, we're gonna divvy up the gold first, obviously. So that would be what, 25 each.
Yeah, so Gen grabs the gold pouch, like bites the coin, checks for if it's real gold, starts to like
Seem-
observe and count them.
Yeah, it seems to be real gold. But if you'd like to make an investigation check, you can.
And at 20, so 21.
It is very definitely real gold. Your benefactor is not trying to pull one over on you. And yeah, and you can tell that the bag is nice too. You know, it is a fine leather worked pouch that, you know, he seems to have some money if this is where he's keeping, you know, 100 gold pieces. You know, that usually you have like a very simple cloth pouch or, you know, something like that, but this is like a very, like, you would not want to lose the pouch, let alone the coins within it.
So Gen looks after he's finished looking through the bag. He looks at the other members and starts like scan them. He's like, "Well, so who wants a cut?"
Nadja's gonna stick out her hand. She's not gonna say anything, but she's gonna stick out her hand.
So Gen counts 25 gold, puts in her hand.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Hooded man, you're mighty quick to grab that pouch.
It is the trick of the thief. Always have been good with coins.
Someone quick with a dagger and quick to the money. It's good to have on our side. And then the Goliath kind of holds his hand out.
Gen again counts the money and throws in an extra coin for him for the joke.
He notices this coin and he kind of like puts it separate from the other 25 in his huge hand. And he just kind of he looks over at you and nods, and then just puts the rest in his coin pouch, or puts all of it in his coin pouch rather.
And again, like snickers at the joke and like, yeah, it is the trick of the trade. Funny joke, earns you a coin sometimes, and starts like divvy up 25 for Austin's character as well.
Thank you.
Oh, I can't
Like,
do math.
puts it
That's
on
fucking
table.
15 plus 26.
There you go.
41.
All accounted for.
So what
Appreciate
do
it.
all of you do? What is your job?
Is your character asking us that?
Yeah, the whole
'Kay.
table. So anybody can answer at any time.
Well, I've been a thief for multiple years now. Lived in the slums. I left my city after a failed heist, coming here and searching work. Now that I found it, I'm here at your service. Man, like,
I'm not sure I would go
Not
around
sure.
announcing that you're a thief. At least
Unless he's a damn good one.
publicly. Hmm.
again, like, laughs happily. He's like, yeah, but I am a good thief. And I only failed once. And after that, I skipped town. That is why I can brag about it.
Nadja
Hey,
will
look.
look at Austin's character. I can't pronounce that name. It's going to take me like 5 games to pronounce that name.
Anskia.
Ansgar.
Can we call him Hans? Can we just do that?
He won't respond, but you know,
Ansgar.
he'll just give you an evil glare every time. But you know, I've just been around helping people. That's what I do. Just go around healing, helping where I can.
Fine work you do. Do you earn
Always.
much?
I care not for money.
Ah, you're one of the holy types. I like that in a man.
Thank you.
Hooded man,
Oh,
what do we
shoot.
call you?
Me?
Me?
Hooded man, what do we call you?
Gen. Stands for Gengetsu. Silent blood.
Gingits?
Gengetsu.
Got it.
Or, yeah, it's one name, but you can call me Gen. Easier that way. Or silent blood.
Or silent.
Silent blood.
I think that's his last name.
His last name.
And what about you, giant man? I see. Are you new to this? Is this a new thing for you? No. I mean who you are, what you are. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. There's so many. My brain went. Okay.
Great.
Anyways. Tiny. Well, you see, us ground huggers can't really avoid puddles like you giant tree, gapers and stuff. So I'm sorry, the puddles are going to be all over my feet. But I'm a ranger and I'm very skilled at what I do. So I don't need you to get things off the shelves for me, even if I'm short.
The yeah, the other people around are like, like at your at your thud.
You're
Naja
funny,
will
big
have
man.
grabbed the table to make sure that the table didn't like collapse under like his slapping. Terrified. Do you often drink and adventure at the same time? Because I don't think the two mix well.
They do. I agree. How about we drink, big man? Yeah.
He paid for the
You
table.
have table drinks already.
Yeah. And
Thank
Gen like clanks the mugs together with his like cheer and starts to chug his drink. Yeah, yeah. Just waits for the group to do it.
Grab mine and cheer as well.
Yep.
So he's holding like way over your head. So you have to like hop up maybe if you wanted to.
Which she won't. She'll just watch. She'll be like, "Are you good? You good?"
And then yeah, he'll take a big drink of it. He'll like finish the rest of his ale.
Yeah, you're a big man. It doesn't do anything to you, and you know, if everyone takes a drink, you know, it's one ale. You know, what's one ale?
Yeah.
If you were to continue drinking, maybe there might be some problems, but yeah, just the one is fine for now. And it's sort of like a, you know, like a sweet, maybe like not quite a, it's not a mead, but you know, this ale that you know, that you're drinking is, you know, sort of appley, you know, a bit of a cider mead thing that's like a lot lighter than if you were to go fully cider or fully mead. And because it's definitely, the base is definitely like wheat.
My favorite.
Very solid.
So at that, the Goliath will get up, kind of revealing his, you know, nearly 8 foot tall, whatever frame. He stretches real big, and depending on how high the ceilings are, he may even like, you know, put his hands up to like kind of touch the rafter a little bit to like crack his arms and shoulders and back from sitting for so long. And if he can't reach the rafters, he'll just stretch real heavily and just kind of, you know, like do the back twist things, like his back cracks, and he just kind of grabs his quarterstaff and sees if everyone else is ready or not.
Nadja will get up from the table and watch as the Goliath makes a show of being a giant person. And then she'll walk up to him and attempt to poke his belly button, which probably won't work well for her, but she will do it anyway.
How tall is Nadja?
You know, I don't know. What's the
What's
smallest
a
half
halfling?
elf?
Is it like 3 feet
Yeah,
or
like a
something?
half elf. Yeah, she's a
A
half
half
elf.
elf?
Oh, half elf
Yeah,
or
or like the
halfling?
average height half
Like
elf.
4 foot?
Like, well, so like average would probably be, you know, like 5'4" to 5'7". So
Being
if
the
you're,
highest height.
no, being
Oh,
average. So
being average height. So she'd probably, I would say she's probably like 5'3", maybe. Like I tend to go on the shorter end of things if I can. So she's
sure,
short. She's tiny.
yeah. I mean, you could be even shorter. You know, like you
Oh
could
yeah.
be 5 foot if you want. Like that's
Sure. Let's go with 5 feet. She's 5 feet
Ha!
tall. She's tiny
yeah.
shit.
5 feet
Yeah.
flat. I
Very
like
Oh,
it.
She wants to
large.
jump and poke the belly button.
Yeah, I imagine while he's stretching too, like his like chainmail comes up
Yes.
high enough to like just barely expose his belly button. Yeah, your character does that, and he immediately puts his arms down, and just kind of looks at you like, what? What was that?
I saw a hole. Had to stick my finger in it. Fine.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. He kind of like looks
I would make a
uneasy.
habit.
Oh, sorry.
One
Go
of the
ahead.
boys.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you gotta do it, right?
he'll
One
just
of the boys.
he'll just walk out. He's just walking out of the tavern. You said there's like vagabonds, like kind of rough looking folk, kind of sitting at a table,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah. People come here from the inner sort of parts of the kingdom to get away. You know,
Yeah.
you know, there is less uh, authority out here. There's still a little bit, you know, a lot of it just sort of independent, um, but yeah, they like, if you wanted to get away from, you know, like actual imperial uh eyes, then out here is the best way to do it. And so you see like people who look like they've got, like, you know, like a satchel and that's it, you know, or, you know, maybe like you know, just like a bunch of cloth wrapped around them, and they've been walking for days just trying to, you know, get away from the center of the empire. And um but yes, they you see like maybe like three or four of these, you know, sorts of people who aren't at like the tables with a meeting going on.
Yeah. Okay. So he stands up. Yeah. You know, after all that happens, and he goes to walk out. He's gonna look for one of the vagabonds who might be like, you know, looking at him, making eye contact, even just out of like, you know, either curiosity or just kind of an accident.
Sure. You
Um,
yeah, you walk by a what looks like, you know, an elf man who is clothed in, sort of, like rag wrappings, and his boots uh are patched with not the same material as his boots, and it's just very noticeable that he doesn't have a lot going on for him, and he's sitting there like sipping a bowl of like dumpling, very very cheap dumpling soup.
So he'll walk up and kind of look at him until he kind of looks up at him, and he'll take one gold coin and he'll put it on the table and look at the vagabond guy and be like, "I'll give you this gold coin if you come with me right now."
Go ahead and make a persuasion check, but with advantage.
Oh, I crit. I rolled a 21, then a 6 on the second
Nice.
one. So
Nice. So immediately, dude takes the bowl, goes, what can I do for you? Picks up the gold coin, and you need someone to schlep things, or do you need maybe an extra blade? And he pulls out this like disgusting looking like shiv thing that's clearly not a real dagger. Maybe he made it out of like a bone or something. And he like is eager to
okay.
follow you.
So I want to take like that. I'm gonna hold my hand out for like the shiv dagger thing.
Uh, yeah,
Kind of like
he
just take
like.
it from him. And
Oh, sure, yeah.
I'm just gonna,
He lets you take it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna kind of like hold it, and I'm just gonna go, "Come with me." And I'm gonna walk out to
Uh,
the cart with him.
like it's basically like you hold on to it, um, and you feel like you could just crush this thing in your palm.
Like,
It's not metal at
so,
all.
so like on the way out, I'm just for kicks. On the way out, I'm gonna try and like stab it into the top of the door frame, almost like so someone could hang a wreath on it or something. Like maybe like right.
Sure.
I'm just gonna kind of like get rid of it just by like just maybe stabbing into like a piece of wood on the door frame on the way out. If it
Sure.
doesn't break, that is.
Make like a strength check, just to see how hard you slam it in there, or maybe you're looking for like a kink in the wood or
Yeah, yeah.
something.
I rolled a 19.
Nice, yeah. So you and it's not like a forceful blow. It's very practiced, and you just go thunk, and it stays there, and the guy like sort of looks at it as he follows you out the door.
Perfect. So I'm gonna take him over to the cart where the adventurer guy,
Mm-hmm.
was it Rivan?
Re-
Riven?
Rivar.
Rivar. That's what it was. I'm gonna hand Rivar 8 gold, and I'm gonna say anything this man wants up to that 8 gold is it's his to keep. I'm gonna look at the
Oh,
man. I'm gonna pat him on the shoulder, and I'm gonna be like, "Go ahead and get yourself ready. And if one day I need your help, I hope that you'd return the favor."
of course. I'm this is more than anything that anyone's I mean, and he just sort of like stops and thank you.
And what is your name?
It's Link. I
Sorry. I'm very
that's all. Lank is fine.
Well,
I
Lank, it's nice to meet you.
kind of had to leave my name behind. So but a fresh start is exactly what I'm looking for. And he like sort of like eyes the stuff in Rivar's inventory, which now that you're closer, and you didn't meet Rivar at the cart, this is the first time that you're really seeing what he has. um and Rivar is like, oh, of course, and he takes the sort of scoops the gold into a sort of a register box, and he like starts kind of picking up a couple of things, and and he's got like little trinkets and baubles, and right, like he's almost kind of like a like he's selling like accessories for adventurers. A lot of it is like not useful, and a lot of it is like aesthetic, but he sort of looks at you, Rivar does, and is like, I will outfit him with what I can. And he picks up he's got a couple of gauntlets, and he hands them over to Lank. And Lank takes off his rags, and you can see that like he's kind of dirty underneath, but he like happily puts on some sort of like a little bit used, but nice leather gauntlets that go over top. They look like they would take a couple of blows if you were like doing some dual wielding or something, and a blade slipped past your defense. You could probably like bash someone's sword out of the way. And then he also takes out he's like, Rivar is like, these are the only pair of boots I have. I hope they fit. And he hands them over. Lank is like, I kind of don't care if they fit. And he like his old boots almost fall off as he kicks them very lightly onto the ground, and he puts on the new boots, and they uh, they fit well enough. And Rivar is like, that's really that's all I have in the clothing big clothing department. But I can guarantee that you won't be dissatisfied with how long the boots last, as well as the gauntlets. Um, and he sort of like gives back 3 gold. Really, I wouldn't charge you more than this. And uh, hands Lank back the 3 gold, and Lank looks at you, sort of stunned, and, is like, I'm gonna go find a better blade. Um,
That's the spirit right there.
Thank you so much. Both of you, really. And he starts to walk off in the opposite direction of the forest. And like I said, the tavern is like 100 feet away from the forest. Like it's right there. And so is the job board that you all originally found. And if anyone else wanted to sort of make their way out during this time, it took maybe a minute or so for all of this to happen. You guys sort of see either through the window or as you're coming onto the street, you see this elf man with new boots and sort of a new pep in his step, walking away. And you see that the town is it's a lot of like 1-story buildings for the most part. A lot of sort of ramshackle, in the sense that people don't usually use the wood from the forest too much. It's not a good idea. And it seems like everyone knows that. And so in order to get wood, you have to bring it from the opposite side of town, and that's mostly like a swamp area, where there's like some okay, or like a swamp or a marsh, like sort of like there's like some okay fishing over there, and maybe some like like alligator type, snakes and whatnot. So like it is. There are pieces of wood, but they're like waterlogged, and the trees are a bit thinner because it's a marsh, and so the kinds of buildings that you see are like these like sort of like almost like lath wood boards, but like all the way around, and they're usually used for um the interior of walls, but it's these but everyone's using them as like the exterior of walls, and so it's like this weird like mud slash uh tiny board situation, unless you are brave enough to chop down a tree in the Tithriel forest, which not many people are. In fact, and you would know this, wood is actually just really valuable in this place. Like good wood, like some kind of like oak, or like a maybe like even like a redwood. If you were to find something like that, and you brought it back, it would be like uh more than worth its weight in gold. And yeah, so you see this town that is all this sort of same build, and there's one spire that sticks out above the rest of the town, and all of the buildings are sort of built outward from there, as if that was sort of the beginning of the town. And you would know this, this spire is a wizard's spire, not like one wizard, but like it is a group of wizards. They all sort of like live there, and there's a hierarchy of wizards that live on each floor, right? So like the lower to the ground you are, the lesser of a wizard you are, sort of thing. Um, and you can't get in there unless you meet the council of wizards and then like prove yourself, and you have to challenge the lowest wizard to a duel, and then you have to win that duel, and there's a whole system, and that's like basically who the authority in this town is. But also they're just like really hands off, and you guys know that, and it's like that's sort of why people come here, because like the wizards just keep to themselves, and generally you can just do whatever with their land, as long and if you are close by the wizards, the imperial uh people generally don't fuck with them. So if you're close enough to the wizards will like keep you safe as a matter of like principle of being near them, but they're not like protecting you because they like you, sort of. It's like this weird situation. Anyway, so that's a little bit of a lore dump for you guys. Um but that's sort of why people be here in this town. And uh yeah, and so you are walking out into the street, and it's like sort of just uh dirt roads all over the place. There No one has made any sort of effort to make better quality roads, but it does the job. um anyway, I've been talking for a long time. After Lank walks away, what would you all like to do with the rest of your time and money before you set off into the Tithril forest?
But I scan all the people sitting in the tavern to see like how well off they are, if they're adventurers or thieves
Sure.
or such.
Yeah. Are you looking at so at a glance, without rolling a die, you there are a couple more sort of vagabond types that like your Goliath friend just brought out into the street, and then there are two more meetings that are similar to the one that you just had, going on. And maybe they're also kind of about to wrap up. You know, it doesn't take too long to make a deal. But you see you see one group of three adventurers that, you know, kind of look similar to you guys. There's, you know, chainmail guy and a ranger looking guy, and then and maybe like a rogue, and then there's another group of just two who are and they're all talking to some sort of benefactor, the and you can't quite tell, you know, all of their features. So
Yeah.
where would you like to focus your efforts?
Focus on a group of 2
Okay.
and
Go ahead and
scan them like up and down.
yeah, go ahead and give me a perception check as you you know, as you sort of like, are
11.
you walking by them?
Yeah, because I just
Or
like stood up at the table and
okay, yeah.
like scanned the room and look at the people.
Sure. So yeah, as you're walking by, um, you do notice, you know, not too much with that. You know, as you're
Yeah,
walking by, they do seem to be hunkered down and, you know, kind of similar to yourself, right? Yeah, they're not trying to be too open about who they are. They are, you know, dealing with you know, people who are giving them money and whatnot. Well, one of them, though, does sort of glance in your direction, and you know he eyes the you know your waist. Whether or not he saw anything interesting, you do notice that he looks in your direction.
yeah,
But that's about all you can tell. Like he's got a hood on, and he is, you know, very close to the table as you're standing up. So
yeah. So Gen looks at like Austin or guy's name. Fuck. Ansger. I think.
and scare
Ansger. Ansger.
Unskid.
on scare.
Ansger and Nadja. And like nods that like head out the door. I'm like, you wanna go?
Yeah.
Nadja
Uh,
would have already been to some degree partially out of the door because she got up after Mothim did. Is
Mhm.
that how you say that, Max? Mothim? Okay. So she had gotten up after him, so she probably would have already been like mostly out the door at that point. Um and obviously saw the elf guy doing
Mhm.
his business and stuff. So she would have probably been heading out the door at this point. So she's ready to go. She doesn't do anything. She's just ready to go.
So we're all outside right now, right? Is that what I
Yes.
got? Okay.
yeah. What do we actually know about the forest, like prior knowledge wise?
Sure. Why don't you go ahead and either a nature or a history check for me?
All of us, or just
Yeah, anyone who wants to. Um, you can establish.
nature and history are my thing.
We'll establish how much knowledge each of you has. So
I
why
rolled a
doesn't
15.
everyone go ahead and roll?
15.
Okay.
A 19. No, 22. Sorry, because I have a +3. 22.
And I have a +2, so I have 21.
Nice, nice.
Ooh,
Okay.
we all know some things.
Okay. So the two of you who rolled below above 15 but below 20, um you are familiar with the general rumors and whatnot that I sort of mentioned before. Like it's weird. There's the forest seems to move by all accounts of people that go in there. If you walk in a straight line, and this is, and now I'm saying this is fact, right? As you know for sure that if you were to walk straight into the forest at like 5 minute intervals, you would all end up in a different place. And that is bad, because you will probably not be able to find each other unless you had some sort of magical communication capability but like at a longer range scale, right? Like you could maybe, and you know, and this is sort of like, and to be clear, all of you know this, because you all rolled above a 15, right? So that is something to note as we go forward. um Separating is not a great idea. um
Okay, so we
and
can walk into the woods though, but
Mhm.
if or will it force us to separate if
No,
we
no,
walk
no,
into
like
woods?
if you walk into
Okay.
the woods as a group, you will tend to stay as a group as long as you
Okay.
are not distracted and like walk off
Okay,
a
so don't
ways.
get separated. Sorry, I'm writing this down at the
Right.
same time. Okay. All
Yep,
right.
you're fine. Right. So you all know that. And that's sort of like baseline knowledge. The one other thing that you know, as the two people who, you know, like rolled above 50 or above a 20, um there there are rumors that seem like they are more truths because they happen often enough, of like there are ruins or places of interest that keep on happening. So there is some sort of layout of the forest. Uh, but it's very difficult to map because there's some sort of magical interference going on, like, you know, so just like, you know, that if you were to walk in there separately, you would all be, you know, you wouldn't be able to find each other without magical means. You also know that there are places that do exist that are permanent, but going to them um going to them like on a specific,
Intentionally.
like, yes, intentionally, sorry, yes, that's the word I was like going to them intentionally is very difficult. So yeah, so like if you do know of a place, you have a higher chance of getting there, but it is, again, the forest seems to be trying to, you know, get you to go in the wrong direction.
How tall are the trees in the forest?
So they're probably a good like
Like a normal
between,
tree.
yeah, like a normal tree. Like I would say uh, these are like 20 to 30 footers at times.
Okay.
Not always. Like there are smaller trees, you know, maybe like, yeah, 10 to 15ers, but like if you were above them looking down, you know, the tops of the
Yeah.
trees are at the highest point, like 30, 20 to 30 feet.
Okay.
So I know you said it would be, or it is difficult to map it. Whenever we
Right.
actually get journeying, would I be able to try? I have
Yes. Yeah,
cartographer's
yeah, yeah.
tools and
Yes.
proficiency.
So that is a thing you can try to do. You and along, so just to maybe clarify a step further, if you do try to map it, it's not that you can't map it at all. It's more like the forest seems to shift beyond the ability for you to
And
map
my
it.
map becomes outdated immediately.
Right. Yes, exactly. So like maybe the trees move every day. Maybe they move every week. You're not totally sure about that part.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so that's what you guys know.
Cool.
Um yeah, so how do you guys want to proceed? Does anyone, well, let's start here. Does anyone want to look for a anything that they don't have on their person? or wouldn't have on their person already. Now knowing the kinds of things that you might encounter in the forest.
Does anybody have a wood cutting axe?
Oh, that had pounds. Sorry, I don't have a wood cutting axe.
I know I don't.
I have a crowbar. If that helps. Think
If you can
chop
cut
it.
down a tree with a crowbar, I'd be impressed.
I don't know if cutting those trees down is a good idea. I feel like they'll get angry.
I'll eat ya. This one.
Maltheme says while
Like-
staring off at the forest.
What would
Yeah,
be your purpose for cutting down the tree?
Stuff to give to Rivar to sell.
It is worth a lot.
And, it's not necessarily we have to cut down a standing tree if there's any already fallen over. Sometimes you run across that. Chop it up a little bit. Take some with us.
Not a bad idea. You're a smart man.
All right, so we need a couple belts to lash some logs together. A woodsman axe. Give me a lantern. An oil one preferably with maybe one refill.
Yep. You're asking Rivar
That's
for these?
Rivar, sorry, yeah.
Yeah. He's like, I've got, let's see here. Sure, I've got an axe. I've got a lantern. And is there anything else in particular I could get for you?
Belts to hold the logs.
Oh, yes. Let me see here. Belt. I have I just have a couple of normal belts. Will that work?
Yeah,
Awesome.
that should work, yeah.
All right. Here are a couple of belts. I can't help but notice that you might be trying to get some wood. Be careful. I've not heard of many who were successful.
Thank you for the advice. Speaking of, do you have
But
any
but if
rope?
you do bring it back, whew, it is worth a bunch.
Would you happen to have any rope laying around in that cart of yours?
Oh, sure. I've got several bundles of rope. You just
Could I
want
get
the one? Yes. Yeah, of course. Here. He hands you the rope.
Thank you, Kyla. Is there like a 50 feet of rope or something?
Yeah, it's a 50-foot bit of rope.
Thank you kindly.
Anything I can do to help? If you all come back, I make a pretty penny. So that's the idea. Come back.
We shall.
Putting the cart before the horse, are we? We don't know that we're gonna make it back yet.
What is the
Oh.
what's the axe called? Would it just be like there's no woodsman axe in
Oh, just an axe. I
Just
would.
an axe?
just put it in
Yeah,
like
I
a
mean-
hatchet or something?
Yeah, I don't know about D&D Beyond. You might have to do a custom item.
Yeah, just make a custom item called axe or something. Like logging axe.
Yeah, all I knew
Oh,
is I
it's
wasn't going to
under-
be chopping down a tree with a mace.
You
Yeah.
sure? We'll
I mean,
we'll
I could
use,
swing enough times.
The crowbar works. Hey?
If you, I think you could just like I think it's a hatchet maybe. There
I'll
might
back in
be
1 minute.
that thing.
Yeah, I'm looking for it. I'll find it. Don't worry about it. But so Maltheme's gonna pick up the axe and he slides it like into his belt on his hip, unless like
Mhm.
Austin, unless your character wants to carry it. But Maltheme seems to have no problem carrying the gear.
How
Oh,
much
yeah.
weight can you carry, by the way, as a Goliath? I'm just curious.
I'm considered large instead of medium. I'm one size larger than So it's like a lot.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay,
It's
I was
a
just
heck of a
curious.
lot.
Yeah, because I'm carrying like almost 40 pounds worth of stuff, and I'm not encumbered.
Well, I have 72
So-
pounds of gear on me, plus I'm adding
Oh.
the axe.
Okay, cool.
Like, Goliaths are huge, plus my strength is... Well, it's only 16, but, like...
Yeah,
still pretty
well,
high.
that's why I was asking, because I was just curious, because I was like, you've got to be able to carry like a shit ton.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm a bit hefty myself.
Yeah, I don't know if we're doing encumbrance rules, but I try to keep it pretty realistic anyway, so I'll never
Same-
carry
same.
more than, you know, what maybe my character
Yeah.
actually can carry, kind of thing.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
if it becomes necessary to let you know about what you're carrying, I'll let you know. But
Yeah, I figured as much.
But no, I'm good with you carrying it.
Okay, cool.
And is this going to be like a supplement to the mission that we were doing? Is getting wood?
If we
well,
run
your
across,
your mission is just to
Find cool shit.
get good stuff. So
find loot, return, make money.
Big profit.
And if
Okay,
wood
okay.
happens to be loot,
So Nadja's going to turn to
And axe.
Jen
Mhm.
and look at
Mhm.
him, and she's going to give him a very stern look. You better not steal a damn thing on this mission.
And he looks down at with the like eyes like piercing into her, like looking straight in her eyes. He raises his hands, like revealing his arms, which are like completely covered in scars and like a little bit of fur. And he goes, "Thieves' honor, don't steal from the party."
All right. Well, as long as he promises not to thieve anything, because it will be an eye for an eye if you do.
I don't suppose we'll even know if he did take something.
Well, if he's as good as he said he is, then we probably won't. You're right.
And then, like, Mulfeeb kind of looks up, he's staring at him, he just goes, "Yeah, I trust him. He looks like he's seen a thing or two, and, well, he's probably learned a couple lessons, so I think we'll be okay."
Very many, in fact.
Yeah, it's like he noticed the scars all over your arms and everything, and while he has no idea where they're from, he imagines you've been through some shit.
Could I try to, with sleight of hand, put a coin into her like pouch?
Sure.
Into not just
You
pouch.
try and do this like when she's not looking, obviously.
Yeah, yeah. When she
Yeah,
turned,
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So
that sleight
go
of hand is
a
while
20.
they're staring at you.
when they're staring right at you. Yeah.
A 20.
Yeah. Oh, you got a 20?
Yeah.
What is? Let me see here. So Nadia's passive perception is
It's 14.
14. Yep. So you beat that. So yeah. You
How much money
you
you give me?
successfully
I'll just
put
put like
coin.
1 gold coin in there.
Yeah. All right.
Ah,
And-
that's gold coins. I'll
Sure.
fucking add it. I don't care.
Yeah, I like pats her on the head and yep. You say, "I don't steal, but you should look in your pockets. You'll find something fun for you." Like walks towards Muffin, and
Yeah, I imagine we all kind of start walking at the same time, like towards the
Yeah.
forest, maybe.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm good to
So
go.
as
when y'all
Nadja's
are.
like checking her coin purse and
Yes.
believing Santa's real.
Right?
Yep. You find an extra coin that wasn't there before.
She's
you're
gonna
pretty
kinda
sure it
fist
wasn't
pump
there.
the air, and then just kind of like look around awkwardly and just keep going.
But
I
does
just
she realize
picture-
that it's
I just picture
him
this short
putting it
little
there?
elf girl fist pumping the air like all by herself in the middle of the road. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yes!
Yeah.
And like, the town
Yeah,
around
right?
her's like, what the fuck? And she's
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one seems to notice.
That's hilarious.
Hell yes.
That's a
But
good.
does she know that it's like him putting it there?
Well, I mean, you kind of alluded that it was your character doing it, so
Yeah.
like she could theoretically know that. She's not that dumb. She's pretty smart. But either which way, she's just gonna fist pump the air and be happy about it and not say a word.
So either she
So-
counted wrong the first time, or someone gave her a coin.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So either way, she's
So
happy.
she's just like, yeah.
It's like finding a 20 in your jeans, and
Yeah.
oh, they're there. You know, like, yeah,
true.
all right, buying beer today, or paying
So
a
as
bill.
we're walking towards the forest, am I able to try and map while walking?
Yes. So, as far as that goes, we will assume that you're moving along at a pace that would allow you to do that. So we'll say, as long as you aren't hurried in any way, you are allowed to have, a map of the places that you have been, right? But if anything does happen, you'll have to try and remember it from the time that you stopped mapping to the time that you were able to not be hurried or harried in any way again. And so we'll roll an intelligence check to see if you or your proficiency with the cartography tools will come into effect there, but then also like I will keep track of any changes that the forest might do on its own.
Cool.
Okay. All right. So you
yes.
guys start walking in. You see, and is it Anscare, right? Anscare.
Unscared.
Anscare starts drawing up a bit of cartography as you step into the forest for the first time. Is there anything else you guys want to do before I go on a little bit of
Are
a
we
monologue?
just at the edge of the forest?
Right, you're just at the edge of the forest currently.
And I can see out the forest.
You can
Like-
see out.
Back to
We
the
haven't
town.
like entered further.
Oh yeah. You haven't like entered the forest yet. No.
I will do a little bit of lookout and like start to climb the nearest tree.
Okay, so you like want to look into the forest, or
Yeah, I want to
or-
like climb to the top of the tree and have like a scan of the, if I can.
Sure. Yeah. Roll either acrobatics or athletics to climb the tree.
A 16.
Yeah, easily enough done. The trees are very thick towards the top. They begin to sort of almost push you away. You know that they're not doing so actively, but it is very difficult to reach the canopy's edge. And you do finally, after about a minute of climbing. And for a ways you can see the trees are thick enough that you can't see down into them. And I'll give you as well, on your way up, basically like it's impossible to see beyond roughly 100 to 150 feet as you begin looking into the forest. Like it is, that's how thick it is, right? The trees aren't next to each other completely, but they are they have enough branches, especially as you continue going up, that it's enough to sort of overtake each other and become a wall, a thicket of branches.
Do I see anything odd?
Anything odd? No, nothing out of the ordinary from what you can tell. Like, and again, you can't really see too far into the forest at this point.
Not just like if the trees were moving or something like that.
Oh yeah,
The
no.
rumors and stuff.
Yeah, nothing magical comes up on your
Yeah.
on your scan around the area as you're
Okay.
looking into the forest.
Yeah. Then I just like fast climb down.
Okay.
Also. Do I do
Yeah.
another acrobatics?
No. You
Yeah.
you found your way up and you can find your way down. Yeah, so you guys and from the bottom, again disappears into the branches. The thicket of branches that are above you, and about a minute later, he his face peers back down and starts climbing onto the ground in front of you.
Again,
Can you?
you see anything worth mapping up there?
Can't see shit for dicks from up there. Only trees and green. Nothing
Unfortunate.
magical either. It's thick as hell, though. Even as a master of acrobatics, it is hard to get up to those canopies, which would be easy otherwise. Weird.
My
Like
son
shrugs.
just walked back here. Sorry. So I want to make sure all we're doing is Sam has climbed up to the
Climbed up,
top of the
climbed
tree.
down, couldn't see shit.
Okay, and then Austin's character is trying to map. Correct.
As
That's
we
all
go.
that's happening. Okay, sorry. Just making sure I didn't miss any like too much
Yep.
because, like I said, my son was talking to me. So okay.
You're good. Yeah. So, how do you guys continue forward?
So we don't see anything around us besides just thick trees, right? Like that's what
Yeah.
Right.
what we're
Yeah.
seeing right now is just thick trees. There's nothing that's like
And I could
triggering
see
any of us
Wilson.
to
Well, you haven't. You also
investigate.
haven't. You haven't really gone into the forest yet. Also.
Okay.
So
We're on
I.
the
So,
edge.
yeah, you're
We're
on
just
the
on the edge.
edge of the
Okay.
forest.
Okay. Okay. Then can I have a +4 survival.
Mm-hmm.
Would that potentially help us see a way into
Yes. So that will help you to sort of keep the line
the
of
bearings?
where you want to go. Right. Yeah.
But
You
it
keep
wouldn't
your
necessarily
bearings.
tell us where to like initially start at. Like I couldn't like roll
Right.
survival
That.
or like something like that to see like where we should start.
There isn't there isn't anything that would lend itself to you knowing where to go. This and just as a as sort of a meta knowledge, right? Like you know that this forest is like if you were looking for someone, maybe that would be something you would use or if you were looking for someone or some place, that would be something that you would use your survival for.
Sure.
But like, yeah, it's mostly just like keep your bearings and
Okay.
your wits about you as you move forward is what you'll be using it for.
So
Do any of you have any idea of where we should start? Since he can see nothing, and she's pointing to Janet's time, and he's trying to map. Do you have any idea where we should go in?
so
And she'll look at.
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's okay. And then she'll just look at Motham, so that way he.
Yeah, and
might
he's
answer.
just kind of staring into the forest after kind of like noticing our resident squirrel human climb down from the tree, and he's just kind of standing right at the edge of the forest, and he grabs his staff, and he kind of brings it up close to his face, and he mutters something just really quietly to himself, and he turns and looks at you, and he goes, "Well, yeah, he looks good." And he's just gonna take one real big step right into the forest, and he's gonna use his staff to kind of like push like the smaller trees and reeds out of the way and the bushes, and he's just gonna kind of like make his own way in somehow.
Yeah, and it's not too difficult to just push forward a bit.
Yeah.
There are gaps in the trees and whatnot, even big enough for Mothim. And you all watch as he begins walking forward.
Okay, meta
I run
knowledge
after him.
need
Yeah,
uh,
sure.
is what is the range that we need to stay with each other within? Would that be something that we would have known? Because we obviously know that we need to stay together. Is there
Yeah.
like an ideal range of what we should not be apart from each other? Should it be like hip to hip or like 10
Well,
feet is okay?
yeah, well, I won't give you the exact range.
Okay.
You know, based on your history or nature knowledge earlier, you think it is, you know, generally stay as a party.
Okay, so just like within arm's length of each other for the most part.
Yeah, or even a bit more, you know.
Okay.
It's like you're still a party if you're all like hanging
like,
out
don't lose sight.
in a clearing within sight. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Don't go wandering over hills alone, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just want to make sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's again just runs after him, like taps Muffin on the shoulder as he walks with him.
Mm-hmm.
So, are you getting his attention, or just kind of like
No, just like
a pat?
a
Like,
friendly pat.
yeah, like I'm here
Yeah,
with you. Okay,
yeah.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, Muffin
I mean-
will kind of turn around anyway and kind of make sure everyone follows him in, so as we don't get separated. So he kind of like crashes through and like turns around and makes sure everyone's coming.
Yeah. Sorry, I was adding my allies right now to my sheet. Naja will be coming right after.
All right.
Unscare also follows and says, "Hey, just please make sure you don't leave me behind. I'm working on the maps here."
Make sure you look up once in a while from that paperwork.
I will. Don't worry.
Naja will turn around and go behind, and she'll follow behind.
Good idea.
Yeah, so that way if she has to poke him with the stick or something to keep him going, she can do that, but she'll stay behind him. So that way he doesn't get too far away while he's mapping.
Appreciate that.
So you begin making your way into the forest.
Can we sing songs first?
Sure. Are you gonna sing?
Yeah. Making my way downtown.
Okay. God bless.
Eating
Make 'em
grass.
Love it.
Because I'm cowbound.
Getting lost, seeing
sorry.
things.
You should have played a bard. What the fuck?
Yeah. So, as you are making your way, the forest isn't it's not dead silent. There are little movements here and there. You can see, you know, a chipmunk or a squirrel, or maybe even, you know, you disturb a badger, and it, you know, sort of like hisses at you and then goes back into its hole. And whoever would like to head up the, you know, the sort of survival check to keep your bearings, I would like that from you.
Oh
Now.
man, you guys are gonna hate me right now. I have a +4 and I fucking failed this.
Oh
I got a
no.
6.
Okay.
I'm
Did I roll?
leading, so can I do the same? Can I roll as well? Or no?
Sure, I'll let two of you lead, but no more than that.
So the rear and the front, I guess, makes sense.
Sure.
I have a
directing.
+5, but I'm mapping, so
I'm only
Yes, you are a
you're
bit
not really-
busy.
Yeah, Matt just
More
walks into
distracted,
trees
yeah.
and shit.
Not just got him.
He-
Just
yeah,
got
he-
anything else. It's fine.
He
Lost
maps the
roll.
trees by just bumping into them as he
Yeah,
goes.
right.
Boom.
Tree.
Oak.
All right, put that.
Buh, spruce.
Tree 5 feet forward. Tree.
The hole. Sorry.
That's good, yeah.
I rolled a 4, so we're pretty much
Okay.
right on target.
We're,
Right.
we're batting
I
at
love
1,000.
it.
Cool.
Yes,
Love
awesome.
Yeah.
It. We get lost a little bit.
Sure.
Oh, we're good.
So well, you know, and it's you know, so the forest is it is a funny place. You begin to move forward, and this, you know, this sort of notion in the back of your head keeps coming up. Where are we going? Right? Like you don't have a particular place that you were trying to get to. You were just, well, the only goal that you really had sincerely was if you see a downed tree, that you would perhaps go after it. And while you're walking along, you don't see any that would be that you would consider like dead or fallen over, and you do sort of hear, or maybe again don't hear that much going on as you're walking, and it's been about an hour now, and the amount of woodland noises has sort of come to a standstill. And you are all noticing as well. You probably the left the town around, maybe 11 or so. Not quite early morning, but it should be the afternoon at this point, and it is dim light where you are. There is no light coming through the canopy that would let you see beyond roughly 30 feet in front of you, unless you have some sort of ability to see farther.
So I could.
I
Sure.
cast
Same.
lantern.
You cast lantern.
You
I cast lantern.
The
You have that?
Yeah.
well,
He
he's
has a
just,
lantern.
Okay, cool.
He
yeah, he's a
got an
lantern.
actual lantern, yeah.
So
Okay.
I light my lantern and I kind of like turn it up just high enough to where the dim light around us becomes like,
Sure.
seeable light, I guess. And I kind of hook
Yeah.
it onto my belt.
Yeah, and the it is sort of a welcome brightness around you as you're moving forward now through as you look into the forest. It is now dark in the stretches before you. It is difficult to see anything beyond just your immediate vision, or if you have some sort of magical vision, you can't really see beyond that. And as you're mapping on Scare, the you kind of notice that the roots, if you were doing sort of like a bit of cartography basics, um, there is not really a path anymore. It is that you are now walking over top of the roots of trees that have come up out of the ground, and you are maybe the first to notice this because you're looking down and up and down and up as you're making you were sort of pathing out a way to go through the trees. Well, no longer. And the as the trees start to do this, they almost sort of begin to bend down a bit menacingly, and as you all are looking around, you notice that the leaves on the trees have sort of become a bit darker, and not just because and not just because that you can't see very far, but even when you hold up a lantern to the trees that are right next to you, the bark and the leaves upon the tree are as if they were in their own shade, is what is sort of what it looks like, even when there's lantern light upon them. Um, I'll just let you guys sit in this moment for a moment. Is there anything that you would like to do before continuing forward?
Yeah, just want to speak up. Hey, Malton, did you notice the path's gone?
And Motham was like, just kind of walking along. He stops and he kind of looks down and he's like, I imagine like he's standing on like one foot on like a giant like arched root and like the other foot
Mhm.
maybe a little bit lower, and like it's like that realization of like he looks down and he's like, oh shit, like this is something, realizing what he's been walking over.
Mhm.
Yeah, oh, what? Well, we're lost, I think. And he kind of like looks around and what does your map say?
Echo, so would you be able to help me out there?
So it's sort of a funny
circle.
question because
It's a
it's
circle.
It
just
doesn't say
trees.
anything.
it doesn't say anything of where you want to go. It only tells you where you've been, as is true of all maps.
Oh yes, but like, have I mapped that the path has disappeared? Like, I know I realize this now.
Yes. So for maybe, and you notice very rather quickly, maybe for maybe for like 100 feet now, you've been sort of drawing in that there is roots rather than like a sort of like footpath. So it's like as if there was a harsh transition into like a deeper or a different wood that you are now standing in. So on your map that you have drawn, you're like, okay, 50 feet, another 50 feet, another 50 feet, and and you've been doing this for like an hour now. So so there is a decent amount of map that is like oh, this is like sort of regular the trees that we have known as we were at the edge, and that's been the case for a while now. And then for about 100 feet, you're like looking up and like, um, this is much different.
Yeah, so I've been kind of carried away doing the map and all, but I think I've mapped it that it happened about 100 feet ago. The path stopped, and the trees seemed to change.
Well, I suppose we have a couple choices then. We could go to, well, we could try and go back 100 feet and regain our path. But based on and like I imagine like Malthaim's like noticing the darkness of the leaves now, and how everything's kind of like bending in on us, and it's still eerily silent, right?
Right, yeah. In this section of the wood, it is quiet.
Yeah, and I just kind of looking around. I'm gonna use divine sense until the
Okay.
end of my next turn. You know what it is. I don't have to read it, do I? Do you want me to read it? I can read
Yeah,
it.
go ahead and read it for the audience and
Yeah.
people who don't know.
So
Me.
it says an action. You can detect good and evil until the end of my next turn. I sense anything affected by the hollow spell, or I know the location of any celestial, fiend, undead that is within 60 feet of us that is not behind total cover. So I kind of like imagine my divine sense is almost like
a radar.
A what?
A radar.
Oh, kind of. You don't really see like a magical interaction with Malthaim when he uses this sense. It's more of just like a gut feeling somewhere within him that he's worried that there could be something, and it kind of like triggers this spell, I guess you could say, or the sense.
Okay, yeah. And that I remind me it does last for just a turn, is that right?
As an action until the end of your next turn. Yeah. So
Okay.
I guess whatever it takes for one turn in this narrative.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
All I need is the one sense, yes or no anyway, right? Like that's what I'm looking for. So.
Right, yes. So you don't sense anything trying to think if this thing is. You know what?
You want me to reread?
I have to look it up. I forget if it's a
Oh, like what like a creature might be or whatever.
what the creature that. Yes, sorry.
No, that's fine. Celestial fiend undead.
Undead. Okay. Yes. Okay. Sorry. So, you do sense very briefly, sort of bobbing in and out of trees at the edge of your sensory range. So it's sort of like flashing in between trees, right? Because there's total cover, and then there's not total cover, and then there's total cover again. Um, it's just like a tiny little thing. Seems to be moving along about 50 feet at the edge in front of you.
It's just one thing.
It's just one thing, and and you can't see it. Like there's
Right,
nothing
we can't.
This is
Max
out
can't.
there.
Yeah, this is
Right.
Max. Yeah.
Well,
But
Right,
I'm
I
just curious.
so I snap to the direction of like I get this sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't say I know what it is though, right? I just sense it, so I don't know if it's celestial fiend, undead, or affected by the spell or anything, right? I just kind of get a feeling that something's there, right? Something evil.
Right.
Unless I'm
So
misreading
I
the spell.
let me look it up.
I guess it depends on what it means by sense. Maybe I do know what it is. Does it say no?
It says you know the location.
Oh,
So
the location.
so
Okay, that's
yeah,
what it
so
is.
Yeah,
you
just the location.
and it says you know the type, so it is not, but you don't know it's an identity. So you do sense a sort of a small, bobbing undead presence,
Right. Okay, that's what it
about
is.
50 feet in front of you.
So he Malthum kind of snaps and kind of looks forward into the direction. Almost like turning back around from facing the group to facing forward. And he immediately takes his staff and he kind of shoves it into like his belt, and he draws his long sword and pulls his shield off his back. And he doesn't look like he's like ready to like fight, but he's got it like in his hands.
Mhm.
And he kind of like takes like gets like more on even ground even to like kind of prepare for anything else. And he kind of looks back at the group and he just says yeah, well, going back might be a good idea, but there's definitely something ahead of us. I don't know if it's following us. I don't know if it notices us, but something not of the living is moving. And he kind of like points with his shield, like the direction of where it's coming from. And then he looks back and he just kind of goes, well, no, actually, no, you know what? No, he'll kind of leave it at that. He just kind of points in the direction and kind of leaves the group to respond, I guess.
Again, instantly pulls his daggers out, like dual wields them.
Now,
Like,
sorry, go
go
ahead,
on.
Sam.
Sorry, no.
No, I was just gonna ask because like if Nadja walked forward, right, to stand where Mothim is, right,
Right.
would she be able to see it since it's only 50 feet away? She has 60 feet of vision.
It is possible, yeah. You could try that.
Could I see it?
So
Because I also have 60 feet.
Yeah, so you would, it is like if you guys move forward and sort of like
Yes.
line up,
yeah, that's kind of what. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Nadja will go stand next to Mothim and try to
Mhm.
see if she can see it.
You're right. And you guys have dark vision, or
I have
Dark Vision 60.
you have dark vision. Okay, so the there is a very dim ethereal light that it is sort of strange, right? So Mothim definitely can't see it, or he couldn't see it, sort of bobbing in between the trees when he was like looking. Like he knows which direction it was, but couldn't actually see it. But you, Naja, uh, as you are looking, in that direction, you see sort of just the vague outlines, because your vision is like black white, in the, in the darkness. So you see these like sort of like white dim outlines of something, sort of like, it's slightly on fire, but it is, but it's like spherical, and then kind of like it bobs a little and changes shape, but it looks, but the fire kind of, isn't paying attention to gravity. It's sort of like going in whatever direction that the bobbing of this sphere is, and it just seems to be, like, tickling the range at which you can see it. It kind of like goes out of your range and then comes back in, and and it doesn't seem to be Ooh, sorry. It doesn't seem to be like paying attention to you or your group. It's just sort of there.
Okay. So I will tell the group I can kind of see it. It's slightly on fire, but it's spherical, but it bobs a little, but it changes shape. But the fire isn't paying attention to gravity, but kind of is going in whatever direction the sphere is. And it seems to be tickling the range of my vision, but it doesn't
Yes,
seem to be paying attention to us. Did I do it right? Did I
that's
do good?
very good.
Pretty fucking good.
Malthaim's just
That's
kind of
sorry.
staring at
Pretty
you,
fucking spot on.
and he's
Well-
like, "That's
Okay,
a
sorry.
very specific description."
That's very specifically what I see. I just thought I would share with the class.
I appreciate it. I mean, I feel like we've got to come back with something. We can't just
So-
turn back now, you know?
Shall we proceed forward then?
Should I
Yes.
sneak up on it?
I
Oh, I
suppose
don't-
closer
that's
look.
your choice.
Yeah.
Well, Malthaim will actually just start taking this. He'll take a big step forward then. Malthaim will start kind of
Yep.
moving up.
Okay.
Nadja will kind of flank behind a little bit. She'll still stay close to the party, but as a ranger, she's going to want to be in range, and she's more of the stealth, so she's going to want to try to stay hidden. So she's going to kind of stay either behind the big guy or behind like the trees, but she's going to kind of follow their flank as they're moving forward.
Mm-hmm.
Could I enter like a full stealth mode and just like try
Yeah,
to
you
head
wanna hide.
just full stealth, just like ahead of Motham towards it.
Okay. Give me a stealth roll. So
A 12.
a 12. Okay. The you are moving towards the
Yeah.
direction.
Yeah.
Okay. What? Sorry. What else? What's everyone else doing?
Well, seeing as it's kind of dark,
Mhm.
and we have this weird thing ahead of us, I'm gonna, for now, put the cartography stuff away,
Mhm.
and just have my shield equipped on one of my arms. I'm not gonna have the mace out or anything, but I'm gonna be
Alright.
following behind Motham.
Right on. Right on. And what about Naja? Sorry, did I?
Yeah, she's
miss-
just still staying in the flank, just kind of following behind them, like moving either between moving behind Motham or a tree based on how he's moving. So that way she's staying kind of
Mhm.
still remote, and maybe even periodically turning around to make sure
Sure.
nothing is like following their backside.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay.
So, as we're moving
So
forward.
so you all begin moving forward, and how much apart from the group does Gen get?
Like a maybe 10 feet.
10 feet? Okay.
Just like crawling, like you know how they like kind of like crouch just in
Mhm.
like under the roots. If there's like a way, just like
Sure. Yeah,
silently
yeah.
hop through them in the
Yes.
bushes.
That is very doable. And you sort of like are behind trees, and then
Yeah, as
um
hidden as possible.
right, yes. Okay. Um the uh, you guys walk ahead of you about 40 feet, and so as you are moving, you when you get within roughly 30 feet, suddenly there is this, this like very, very dim flame that is visible now that you are, within a within a short distance, and again it is, it's sort of, like just kind of like bobbing around and going to different places, and um uh I would like the group to make a stealth check as well, so apart from what Gengetsu is doing.
Do I roll again?
No, you're fine. You are already stealthing.
I got a 16.
Okay.
6.
I got a 14 minus 1, so 13.
6. Oops.
I have disadvantage because my armor.
Yeah, that's rough, man. Okay, so
Quick question, sorry.
uh-huh.
So I did a roll, but I am wearing chainmail as well, so I have disadvantage. How does the disadvantage work? Do I just have the -1 or
so you roll again and you take the lower option?
the lower option? Okay.
Right.
Roll one more time then. Fuck.
Okay. Yeah. So you got a 10.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right.
Good on
Okay.
you for being faithful to the game, Austin. You could
I
have got
know.
away with it.
Yeah, actually.
Builds better story when you are.
Fair enough.
Mhm.
Yeah. So the most noticeable of you is the giant man who is
No.
holding a sword and shield. You
And
you
has a
basically
lantern.
walk around. Yeah, and has a
The
lantern.
lantern.
You basically walk straight up to this thing, roughly, you're at about 20 feet now, and it suddenly glows much brighter. There is a, not so much a flash of light, but it is, within a 3-second window, there is very, very little flame, and then it goes, and it is now lighting up a vast amount of trees, and there are these like little glowy ghost flowers that it seems to be attending to. Maybe that's why it was, bouncing around, and there are some of the ghost flowers are like like little bits of like sort of tulips, and there are a couple that are like roses, and there's some on the ground that look like they're in a pond, but there is definitely no water, and it's like, the sort of like lily flowers, um and this thing just glows like incredibly brightly, and you can now see this sort of flowery water pond scene, and you are right on the edge of it. It doesn't seem to do anything else, as you are now at the edge of this watery flower scene, ghostly. It's sort of, you can see very, very ghost-like ripples of air and water sort of churning as the fire brightly flickers, and there, it has no face, it has no directional cues on it. It is just simply floating there about 6 feet off the ground, and doesn't seem to be doing anything else at the moment.
Throw my Pokeball at it.
What?
You want to throw
Clearly
what
it's
at it?
clearly a Pokemon. I
Throw
mean,
Pokeball
Yeah.
at it.
Oh, yeah, for
Okay,
sure.
So because
It's a
Naja
shiny.
is like a nature, like
Mhm.
that's her thing. Would she have the knowledge of maybe
Sure.
ish what this could be? Would she
Yeah,
know that?
roll a nature check for me. Just, free, no time to take it, just free nature check.
12.
12. Okay. This is something akin to a will-o'-the-wisp. It's not exactly it because there's something else going on here, but it obviously looks similar.
Okay, so she would know that and maybe like tell them not to immediately jump to anything. Like she would be like, "Oh, I know what this is," you know.
Mhm.
Okay.
Sure.
So obviously not just going to do that. She's going to explain to the party, "I think I know what this might be. Obviously, there's something else very wrong with the situation or very different about the situation, but I think this is very similar to a will-o'-the-wisp," is what you said it was.
Mhm.
So Malthing will kind of hear Naja behind him, kind of discussing what this thing is, and he hears her, and he kind of like standing right at the edge as it reacts to him getting so close, and he stops, and I imagine he's gonna take his sword and kind of like he pushes it into the dirt, so it kind of sits standing up next to him, and he's
Mhm.
gonna lean over and kind of go down on one knee, and like watching this thing carefully to make sure it doesn't come after him, and he's gonna kind of reach in, and he's gonna try to like almost pluck one of the flowers, like see if he can touch it, or if it's like if he can touch it at all.
Mhm. Yeah, and so before you get to plucking the flower, basically as you break the sort of the edge of the scenery that is now glowing in the in the ghostly light, um the you feel a chill um as you get closer or close enough, right? So you are at the edge, you sort of reach in and break some sort of barrier, and it is cold within the barrier.
Okay.
Do you still want to pluck the flower?
Yeah.
Okay. You continue reaching down, um, and before I resolve that, again, you're sort of you can sort of see your party apart from you, but you are kind of on your own. What would you be doing at this point?
Could I scan, like, if I see anything other than what they could see, because I'm a little bit further ahead?
Sure. So you um go ahead and roll a perception
This
check for me.
big thing.
Oh, sorry. What'd you say?
16.
Oh, 16. Sorry, I must have missed it. So you um you do see the same similar sort of like ethereal light show that that is happening for your companions. However, it does seem to end at a and in a radius around the wisp that is floating there, and because you're a little bit you're sort of a little bit behind it at this point. You do notice that there this area that it is in is like it's almost like a bowl, right? Like it's sort of a like a concave uh bit of the forest. There are no roots, there are no like or the roots that are there are like sort of shaped into the form of where this wisp resides, and they don't seem to be going into that area. They are keeping at the very edge of where this thing is.
So the wisp doesn't go in there?
everything else. So the wisp has sort of a radius around it of
Okay.
of roughly 20 feet, and the forest is growing around it.
Okay, that's the way. Can I like gesture? Oh yeah, whistle to, like the like a whatever it's called, like a finger whistle,
Yeah, sure.
and point to not touch anything, or like
Sure.
just show don't fucking touch anything to Muffle.
Okay, sure. Um,
I would
mm,
whistle, but I'd fucking wake up their parents.
yeah, that's fine. Yeah. So you all hear a sharp whistle as Mothim, you are going to pluck this flower. You hear the whistle. Um, do you look up at the whistle?
Everything's really trying to stop me from touching this thing, huh?
Well, just the
Uh.
in that moment that is what happens. So
So okay, he looks up at he looks over. He stops. He keeps his hand. He keeps his hand inside. Right.
mhm.
So imagine he's reaching for like this flower, and he wants to see what is going to happen and what it's all about. Then he stops, and he kind of hears this sharp whistle, and he looks over towards Gin. The direction. I don't know if I don't even know if I see him, but I look that direction.
Well, I imagine that he makes himself known.
Okay,
He's not
that's
hiding
fair.
anymore.
Then yeah, I look over at him, and I kind of just like I look at him.
And you do what's a sort of motion. What?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you know how you
Like
would like kind of
like
double
like
wave.
Yeah, like waving your hands. Like,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
no, 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 no.
Don't
Sure.
fucking.
Why don't you roll a wisdom check, Max, to see if your character can discern what is being said quickly.
Yeah, all
to
right.
see if he's
Fine.
oafish enough or not enough. You know?
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, I rolled a 9.
Does he have the intelligence?
I rolled a 9.
Sorry, what'd you roll?
A 9. Waffen is really
9.
wise, but
Okay.
yeah.
Sure, yeah, but sometimes the
Just
the
didn't
moment
get
is
it.
just too quick. You sort of look over, you're like I don't get it, and you go to pluck the flower.
So
You see this sort of like maybe like a lily of the valley sort of thing, and you
but as I pluck
pick-
it, I wanted to
Mhm.
sorry, I wanted to specify.
Yeah,
As
yeah.
I pluck it, I look up at the what you call will-o-wisp. Oh yeah, cuz Nadja told us.
Mhm.
So I look up at it and I just say, can I have just one? And I'm going to pluck it.
Okay.
And I am
The
standing behind, like
Right.
right next to and behind Motham during this.
Gotcha. I would like you to roll. I would like Mothim to roll a persuasion check.
I have like 5 straight rolls under 10. I do not want to click this fucking.
This one has to be great.
I imagine
right?
so.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's gotta be right. Here we go. Oh, I rolled a 20, not a crit, but a 20.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Right, dirty 20.
Yep.
That's pretty good. So the wisp, the fire calms down a bit. It senses that you are not here to harm it in any way, at least not immediately. And it's probably about, if it was raging before the fire, at least, it is now, sort of just a calm, it's still lighting up the area, and you can see the various, flowers, the ghostly pond that is beneath you, but it is not maybe asserting its will as aggressively. It doesn't move, but you can sort of hear this like chime, like a sort of like a wind chime thing, but if there was only one wind chime and it was lightly being tapped, just like a ding, 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 and it begins to like light up various flowers in the area that you didn't see before, um and now there are more flowers, and and every chime you see another bundle of these ethereal flowers, and it's it seems to be like sort of like showing you its collection, or something along those lines. And the one that you have in your hand, it's again, there's sort of a chill in the air when you plucked it, and you bring it back to you, and now you can see the like ethereal chill sort of dripping off of this lily of the valley looking flower, as you're holding it in your hand. Um and it is it is cold to the touch as well. Um, what would you like to do?
Can I interject just real quick?
Hmm.
So, as I'm assuming that all of us can hear and see the same thing.
Right. Yes, everyone can
Okay.
see this.
Uh, as I hear and start to see this, I initiate trying to pull out the cartography stuff again and reinitiate, try to get the small portion I missed
Sure.
from where we walked up to this, and then start trying to
Yeah. Go ahead
get
and
this
make
down as much as possible.
make an intelligence check for the stuff you missed. It won't be very difficult because it hasn't been too long.
Just a D20.
Yep, just a D20, and add your proficiency bonus with the cartography stuff since you have it.
It's a plus
Um,
2 for proficiency.
oh, sorry, and your intelligence if you have.
I don't have
No,
intelligence.
okay, so just two. Okay, yeah. So so I was thinking the 10 would be the uh, DC anyway. So yeah. So you map the bit that you guys walked forward, um and then you get to this part of the map.
And I'm trying to get this
Mhm.
fantastical thing going on. And Max
Yeah.
does what Max
Okay.
does.
Sure.
So would I, because I have animal handling, and I know this is not an animal technically,
Hmm.
but could she try to capture or like convince one of the wisps to be with them?
Well, there's only the one.
Okay, so the one
So
wisp.
sure. Yeah. How would you like to do so? What would your character do in order to convince it?
She would obviously probably okay, wait. Ooh, I don't know. Like I want to okay, so like uh she would try to speak Sylvan at it
Okay.
and see if it would respond to her. So she
Okay,
would speak in Sylvan.
what are you gonna try and say
Greetings.
in Sylvan?
Okay. She's gonna say, oh great wisp,
Okay.
I want you to come with me and be my companion and try to speak to it in Sylvan and see if it'll respond.
Okay. Um, it does it does sort of recognize that you are speaking to it. The chime goes off again, but maybe a bit in your direction. And it does move. It sort of bobs a bit towards the edge of where you are, and then it sort of just floats there, um as if it can't go any further. It is and you notice this, this sort of like the edge of where it is. There are no flowers outside of a certain radius, and it like kind of like uh moves over to one of the flowers, and the flower like springs to life, and kind of the bud, a bud opens up, and um it doesn't say anything back though,
Okay.
or respond in any other way.
Audrey will just kind of make a sad face and just kind of huff and stand there and watch the wisp.
Mm.
Malthaim's gonna take the flower, and he's gonna look up at the wisp. I guess it's gotten closer to him now, and he's gonna yeah. He's gonna say thank you. So he just thank you. And then he kind of like looks around at all of the like the wonderful flowers it spawned in or whatever, and it's kind of funny because he looks kind of torn because he knows this thing is clearly undead, right? That's like the sense he got. He got an evil sense from it, so he's kind of like in this torn. He almost like he just looks very confused, and he kind of like he's gonna take the So this flower is staying whole, right? Like
Yes, yeah. It is not breaking or anything like that.
disintegrating or nothing. Okay, so he's gonna kind of take it, and I imagine he kind of like I don't know, maybe he has like a piece of scrap cloth or something in his backpack, or he kind of like whatever. He kind of like puts it safely like in his pocket or something, I guess, right?
You should have put it in your hair.
He doesn't have any hair. He has a beard.
Put it
You
behind
have
your
facial hair.
Yeah,
He's not gonna put it in his beard. No, he's keeping it safe. It's a wonderful gift from some evil thing. So he kind of like he puts it in his pocket for now, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks back at the group, and he looks at Nadja, who tried to like. Well, she was speaking to it. He doesn't know what she said. He just goes, it seems like it might like where it's at. I got this flower. I think we should kill it, but I don't want to.
Would not. Okay, so being that she kind of has an idea of what it is, would she be able to kind of explain what she thinks or how she thinks it works?
So, by your knowledge,
beyond her knowledge.
so by your yeah, you can explain what I'll give you a little bit of info. So by your knowledge, the a typical will-o'-the-wisp generally leads people to places where they might perish, right? Like they lead them into a swamp, or into over the side of a cliff, things like that, or they um and then they will they don't want to directly fight things, but they will lead them to a place where they can suck their life force, right? So generally they're not good, but they aren't like very aggressive usually, unless you're fighting them directly.
A little meta knowledge question.
Mm-hmm.
My race is spirits also? Does that mean like
Well,
have
they
a
were
connection?
more they were like kind of born from spirits, sort of,
Would I have some sort of connection to it?
This is not the kind of spirit that you are
Okay.
born from.
Okay. So there's
yeah,
no like connection. It wouldn't like
not
recognize me
really.
just because I am what I am.
No.
Okay.
So Nadja would look at Motham and she would say, well, there's two ways we can go about this. It gave you the flower. It is allowing you to take it. If we mess with it, we probably will meet our end. So we better just leave it be. I tried to convince it to come with us, but it can't come with us.
Well, I wouldn't want something evil following me around anyway. And he kind of pulls his long sword out of the dirt, and he kind of turns back, and he kind of just like nods at the wisp, and looks at the rest of the group and just says very plainly, "Well, we should just keep going then." And
Keep going which direction?
he kind of walks like so like we walked up to the will-o-wisp, so he kind of like tries to walk around the outer edge and then continue in a straight line. Right, he wants to go in a straight line from where the wisp was, I guess, from the direction we were going.
Yeah, that's doable. You kind of know where it is now, and it's a very small. It's like 20 foot on basically on almost every side. Maybe it's a little ovally, but yeah, it's like a pond that it's not a real pond, like it's a ethereal pond that it's sort of floating over. And yeah, and you successfully, sort of weave through a few trees and
Before,
yeah,
like
yep.
before, just as we're leaving, like the grove,
Uh-huh.
could I try to like sneak, stealth, snatch a few more flowers?
Are you yes. Tell me
Like,
exactly what you are imagining you're doing.
okay, so if you, because I imagine it's like a circle,
Yep,
like a
yep.
grove,
It
and
is like a grove, yes.
yeah, so everybody's like walking just outside the range as a group, and my character is just like quickly, like, because he like crouch walks kind of. He's like a rat.
Mhm.
He's like hunched
Yeah,
over.
sure.
So as he like crouch walks forward, he like stealthily picks one or two flowers as he just walks out the grove and hides them in his like sleeve.
Okay, sure. Yeah, roll I guess roll a sleight of hand check. See how
12.
well you do so. Well, okay.
Not a convincing effort.
The wisp uh does not seem to mind that you have taken a few things or a few more flowers. It kind of like the flame of it begins to dim down almost immediately after you take the flowers. The flowers start to fade away, and as you guys begin walking further and further away, it gets less and less bright. And if you look backwards at it, not if Nadja looks backwards at it with her vision, it's starting to
I have it too. Just
right,
vision.
yes. So you look back at it, the uh it starts to sort of like bob and you know uh, go to the edge of um the range of the you know area that it was in, and then you can't see it anymore. You-
Little question: are my
Mhm.
flowers still glowing?
Yeah,
Glowing.
so they are well they're like real flowers now, sort of
Okay.
like they're cold and I'll say
They're like
that you
ethereal flowers.
right, yes, they
Okay.
look like ghostly, right? The ones that are now in the grove that you left are like you can't see them anymore, but you think that that was like that maybe the wisp was like controlling
Yeah.
their whether or not they were lit or not.
Okay.
But these ones that are detached from its
Growth.
influence are
Yeah.
they are just
Still lit up.
exist. Yeah.
So again, we'll walk up like behind uh Nadja and
Hmm.
like put the flower in her hair and like give her a little pat on the shoulder for like
Sure. What kind of flower do you imagine it is?
it's like a spectral lily.
Okay.
Like what the fuck does lily look like?
Yeah, you
Fancy
Nadia,
spectral
you
lily.
you suddenly feel a cold flower in your hair.
I'd want her to notice that I put it there. Like,
Okay, yeah.
that I'm
sure.
approaching to put it there.
Ah, yes. Well, in that case, go ahead and you can interact with each other.
I think
Thank
you
you.
deserve it. You did a good job. The
I
wisp maybe not followed, but a flower did.
thank you. She just look very confused,
Pretty
but
things should
appreciate
wear
it all the
pretty
same.
things. Pretty things should
Aw.
wear pretty things. I like.
So why
Gives her a little.
isn't Motham wearing one?
As you
Jen
guys
just
look at Motham, he's
Jen
walking
just
through the weeds and like brushes, like grunting and like clearly not pretty.
just fucking
Like he
leaning forward.
he smacks his own forehead because a bug landed on it. Like his head like jerks back. He's like, ugh. There's like blood, like you see like a mosquito like blood on his hand and it has smeared on his forehead.
Nadja's gonna lean over and whisper and be like, "That one," pointing at Motham, "is the prettiest princess of."
What's the last part? You could have.
Oh, she says that she's gonna whisper, "He's the prettiest princess of all of us."
You might actually be right. He whispers back and like chuckles as he walks.
You two paying attention back there?
I'm watching
Yes,
the map
sir.
drawer. I got it.
Are you sure? And like Motham turns around to see if he's actually with us or not.
Yeah, he's there.
You guys were talking and
Gloves
Motham was
on.
leading. It's like
You
no
know,
one keeps track
I
of him.
thought about it. It would be funny if he wasn't there.
Yeah, I turned. God damn it!
Well,
Like I look up, huh?
Yeah, where did everyone go?
Smack into a tree. Damn.
Yeah, he's standing
Fucking
behind a
lamppost.
tree, like as if it was one of you. Like, oh.
Yeah, are we gonna go or what? Yeah, it looks up. It's a tree. Oh shit.
Fucking
The, tr-
lamppost.
the tree has very like Goliath-looking legs.
The roots and everything. Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh dang. That should be hilarious.
That's good. Good.
Still possible.
So you you guys begin walking forward again after successfully evading the wisp of the grove.
So
Oh my god, you guys have been posting things in the chat I didn't realize.
I'm sorry.
you have to post memes while
We were-
playing
we were
D&D.
playing-
Like
we
it's
were playing
mandatory.
funny faces. Sorry.
Yeah. Look at that
So,
AI Lily though. You see that AI
dude,
Lily?
that is that's great. I love it.
Like, that's pretty baller.
Post that in uh the like or like we should have like a uh what the fuck what's it called like a recap
visual.
thing
Oh, visual
of
recap aid.
yeah
The dumb shit that we.
yeah like as like a video.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, so you guys leave the Wisp Grove behind and continue on forward, and roughly, 100 more feet or so, you begin to hear the normal sort of sounds of the forest and things that are, and it begins to light up again, and you can see a path. The roots aren't so covering the ground as they were before. Clearly there was some sort of area that you had passed through, and you are beyond it now. So, I would now like for you guys to make another survival check as you press onward into the forest.
Do you want to make the
Hmm.
survival check this time, Austin, or do you want me to continue because I'm at the rear and Max is at the front?
I'm back to cartographying again.
Okay. All right. I'll survival check it. I can't roll bad forever. I can roll bad forever. I got another 6.
You'll roll.
Oh my
Oh
god.
my
I rolled a
fucking
13.
Lord Jesus! It's all over.
Sorry, you have a +4.
I
How
have
are
a
you
fucking
Yeah.
rolling?
+4. I
Have
don't
you
know,
rolled
dude. Like
twos
I
twice?
I rolled no. I rolled. Yeah, I rolled 2s twice on my survival check. That's the exact same survival check I got last time.
What the
This
fuck?
game does not want me to find my way.
That's
Max, roll
unfortunate.
better, please.
I rolled a 13.
useless.
I am useless.
Actually, just walks into tree.
Right? Legitimately.
So I definitely rolled better. 13.
Okay.
We might know where we're going.
I guess we'll
So-
find out.
You begin to make your way, sort of
Downtown.
a bit haphazardly through the forest, but you are making some headway, right? You feel like you are moving through the forest, and you can see a couple of breaks in the canopy here and there, and you can see the sky is still lit up with the sun of the day. It's only been a few hours that you've been traveling, and you make your way into a bit of a clearing. You see it. You sort of see it a little ways off, and you start heading in that direction because it is a sort of a visible landmark type thing, right? Like it's like, oh, there's clearly much more light over there, and um, the forest opens up a bit. There aren't as many trees, and it's not like it's not like it is a clearing like completely void of anything at all. There's like but there are bushes rather than trees in most places, and there is a small pond that exists in this sort of more clear area where the trees are overhanging it, and there is one sort of larger tree that the pond goes, it like is connected to the pond itself, and it's growing up out of the ground and sort of encompasses a bit of the pond, so that there's like almost like a tree cave in the pond section, or in that section of the pond. And very noticeably, on the other side of this pond, there is a large, what looks like a fruit tree, but you're not sure what fruit it is. You've never seen this sort of tree before, and it is it's roughly about 10 foot tall, sort of tree, and by our by like our standards, they kind of look like bumpy pomegranates, um like as if grapes, like were like kind of like a grape cluster, but like bigger grape cluster, and then but the color of a pomegranate, and it's like one fruit, not many fruits. And you see this, and it's you're at the edge of the of the clearing. The pond is about maybe 40 feet away from you, and then the other side of the pond is roughly 60 feet. So you're about 100 feet away from the tree that you can see. What would you guys like to do?
I just kind of keep walking.
Yeah, I agree.
And I'm just mapping the clearing.
I will
Are
make
we walking towards the tree?
Yes, sorry.
Yes.
The pond is right in front of you. So in order to continue going forward, you would
Yeah,
have to
around
go
the pond.
around the tree or around the pond, and um, so the pond itself is 60 feet across, and then maybe like 100 feet wide in the other direction. Big tree is on the side with the fruit tree, and uh yeah,
There's a
you
cave.
like you yeah, and there's like a little tree cave that you can kind of see in it, but it just looks like tree. But yeah, you can go around it. You're not really in the clearing, you're just sort of looking into it at this point.
I think we should investigate.
Yeah, I put at the cave with my walking staff, my quarterstaff, and I'm just kind of like, cave.
How far was the fruit tree?
About 100 feet from you currently, and you're at the edge of the clearing.
Okay.
I suppose
We could
some
use it.
beast might live in there that we could potentially harvest.
Look, I read that fable. I'm really well read. I read that fable. Doesn't go well. Just gonna throw that out there.
What fable?
Oh, the one where someone eats the fruit from the tree and then it gives them not the thing they're supposed to do. It's the opposite.
Yeah, I want to go in that cave and kill whatever's in there.
I mean, I'm for that. Let's do that.
And then I'm gonna eat the tree fruit.
I don't want to do that.
And look at that. We see sunlight, right?
Yes, sorry, there is a lot of sunlight in this area because there's much less canopy.
I bet I could take one hell of a nap under that tree.
Not a
You
bad
probably
idea.
could, but not sure it's the time.
I'm gonna go with the fable thing. I don't know that it's a good idea. Exploring the cave? Yes. Playing with that tree? No.
Malthame takes a big drink out of his water skin and kind of puts it back where it was, hanging off his backpack. Wipes his face. Well, I guess we'll start with the cave and see what ends up happening. And
Agreed.
he'll head over to head into the cave. Same thing. He puts his staff away, pulls out his sword, and lifts his shield off of the little clip on his backpack and puts it in his hand.
Right on.
And Gen taps Muffin on the shoulder or arm. I'll scout ahead. I am sneaky after all. Better not you die than me. And
do your thing.
Sneaks forward, stealth things.
Okay.
10 feet ahead as before.
So the area that you're in is if you were so it's like there's a few littler bushes that maybe you could hide behind here and there, but if someone was on the left or right of the bush or even behind, they would totally notice you because they're not that big, right? These bushes are maybe 3 to 4 feet large. So if you knew you were trying to sneak from someone who was on the opposite side of the bush, you might be able to position yourself so that they couldn't see you or something like that. But since you're kind of just sneaking in general, you're kind of in a clearing, right? So it's unless you want to skirt the edge of the forest and then go all the way
be
around.
careful that if I'd notice something that I could maybe hop a bush into one or something.
Okay, sure. Yeah, give me a stealth check anyway. So
25. Nat 20.
Yeah, nat 20, nice. Yeah, you find the perfect path in between all of these. Like you look at the bushes that are a bit bigger, and and you're like, if your companions weren't directly behind you, they wouldn't be able, and you kind of remember that they're behind you, and you like try and position bushes in between you and them, and at times they can't even remember which bush you're behind, and then they see you move, because it's just a clearing, and then they're like, oh, I thought he was behind the other bush, right? And so you're like you're doing such a good job at at maneuvering forward, that even your companions are losing track of you here and there, and you're silent, like
Okay,
there are no noise whatsoever.
as I'm doing like the little stealth thing,
Mhm.
as like a joke, can I jump out of a bush and scare Nadja just for the fun of it, and then keep on going?
Why scare
Sure.
Nadja? Like, why not scare the big oaf? Like, come on. Who
Because
Right
doesn't want to see a
terribly.
big bald man scream?
there's a very specific reason. Because she said she's an excellent ranger
Mhm,
Oh,
mhm.
okay.
in the
So,
tavern.
okay, all right. So she's an excellent ranger, right?
All
Okay,
right.
okay.
All right. Give me since you're actively watching him, go
Sure.
ahead
Yeah.
and give me a perception check.
Ooh, I got an 18.
Okay. Yeah. So it's not enough, but you like you're paying attention, right? And that's
Yeah.
noticeable. Like you're watching, and you see him go into one bush, and then he doesn't come out of a bush. And you're like, uh where like you think
Yeah,
he's just
confusion.
sitting in you think he's sitting in that one bush. Go ahead with the scene.
So again, just like as she's walking by, she just like lunges as like in a joking way with her arms open out the bush
Mhm.
and just like makes a random fucking yelp at her. Like ta-da! And pops out of it.
Maltheme
And
spins around with his sword above his head.
yeah, just fucking
And he's
does a twirl and disappears away again to the bushes.
okay. Maltheme spins around to attack something jumping out behind him and sees nothing, I guess.
So Nadja, of course, because he jumped out and startled her, will kind of like take a step back. And if she had hair, it would literally, like, she has hair on her head, obviously, but it's not gonna like actually stand up in any kind of capacity. But if she had the bit, like if she was a cat, it would literally, her tail would be puffed and she would just be like, so, and you could see it on her face, like she's not making a sound, but she's just kind of
Mm.
like, she's clearly startled by it. And she's kind of looks at Mothim, which is of course appreciative that he actually like reacted very quickly and took a swing, because even though she knows it's just Jen, so like she knows it's him because he jumped out of the bush and like she saw his face, but like at least Mothim responded, while fucking you know Hans over here, sorry I can't say his name, is doodling on the map page, very intent clearly, while she's getting traumatized, and he's just like, I'm gonna draw some trees and bushes.
Just
Yeah.
The
painting
chances
circles
of
on
us getting attacked here is low, so I'm working on the map.
Was,
We're in the cave, right? We're in the cave?
Mm,
Oh, you're not quite in the
no,
cave
we're in the
yet. You're
field
going
Not
somewhere.
towards
quite
the
in the cave. Okay.
yeah.
As I said, I thought we started walking into the cave, so I was like, aren't we in the cave? Like,
was that the
So-
sneaky one? So
That
Malthame's
was the
like
sneaky
standing
one.
there with his sword in the air. Because
was the
Malthame wasn't
sneaky
paying
one.
attention to him at all. Like as soon as he went to sneak away, like as soon as Malthame said, do your thing, that was it. He stopped paying attention to anything he was doing. So he had no idea where he was. So yeah, he's like, yeah, you're like, that was him.
Yes. He's very good. He's very good.
Oh, what is he doing?
I
Why?
think he's playing Bush Hero, but I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Bush hero, the next guitar hero.
He's gonna be a bush hero.
He's training to be master of the bush?
There you go. You got it.
So yeah, so
Muffin just
again,
like turns around and is like shaking his head, rolling his eyes, and he continues. Yeah.
yeah. So you guys all continue moving forward. Again, you're the first one to the sort of the mouth of the cave, and I'll describe it a little bit more here that now that you're closer. So there's there's sort of a bit of a not much of, but there's a small beach area, right, where the cave of the tree, or the sort of the inside of this large tree, goes underneath, and the pond is there, right? So it's like there's sort of like maybe like 20 feet of pond, and then like a little 10-foot strip of not any like greenery has grown there, and you can see in it, a little ways back. It goes maybe only about 40 feet, and there is what looks like a couple of like they're not like chests, more just like crates that are kind of open air, like baskets, I guess. Yeah, like, maybe more like baskets. And inside of the baskets is the same fruit that you saw on the tree, and they look like they're freshly plucked. They look like they are, at the very least, they're not rotten. So they've only been here for a small amount of time, relatively to you arriving, and the bit of the bit of the cave that that you are looking at. You can sort of just walk right up to them. There's a little bit of the pond pool next to the next to them, but for the most part, you don't need to get wet at all in order to get over to them.
Could I do a scan of the area?
Sure. Make an investigation check, since you're trying to
A nat 20
more-
plus a 3.
all right. Um so I'll describe, sort of everything that's about to happen, right? So you guys you're all walking towards this cave. You do see Gin pop out, and there's not really anywhere to hide, right? So you kind of see him go along the wall of the cave stealthily, but he is visible to you who are looking, directly at the cave, if you're paying attention. And uh, you know that he just popped around the corner. The um, you can't see into the cave yet because you're a bit behind him, but he stops for a moment, uh, and you, again, as you stare at the walls, and you begin to really pay attention to the colors and the markings and whatnot. This isn't wood. This is something else. You haven't touched it yet, but you get the sense that you don't want to. It looks more like leather than it does wood.
Okay. Is that all there is to like
I mean, you still see the like
the
like
baskets?
a bit beyond. You see the baskets of the fruit and whatnot, but like the entirety of this cave sort of looks a bit leathery.
Okay, so The party hasn't entered the cave after me? Yeah.
Not yet. Nope. They're walking up onto you.
Okay, so and I have just like peeked into the cave. Right? Okay.
Um. So you're. I'm just trying to understand what you're doing. So you're at the mouth of the cave.
Okay, so I haven't entered into it.
Right.
Okay, so I'll like stop the party and like
Mhm.
gesture to come into like a group, like a huddle.
Mhm.
It's like, and goes, I have a pretty good eye, and I've been in many caves. Trust me. This cave is not wood. It is something weird as hell. It looks to be of a leather sort, maybe, and there's baskets inside with fruit. They look freshly picked, but that cave is very strange. I would highly recommend against going into it. Check everything first.
Nadia,
Yes.
the strikes me as odd that the fruit is freshly picked. Do you see any tracks or recognize any footprints of anyone picking these fruit?
What would I roll for that, Ikosa?
Survival actually.
Okay. Oh man.
Not
Hmm.
again.
Another
I'm
2.
trusting you this
I
time.
got a 24, baby.
Boom! Knew it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Felt it.
I got
Versus
a nat
nat
20
20?
and a
Yeah.
4. Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah.
He's
Okay.
not useless anymore.
That's right. I did it. I fist pump as I see things on the ground.
You're helping.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't see anything on the ground. But
Thanks, DM.
because you know, you do notice that uh the I'm trying to think of how to describe. So like the bit of sand or like the bit of ground, right? That is next to the wall is not flush with the wall.
Would I okay, so I don't see any tracks. Okay, say all that. Would I notice anything or know anything about the fruit in particular? Like about it being
Um
picked, or would I be
so
able to like smell anything on it or anything like anything?
it does smell like there is fruit around here. They like the fruit seems real. Um but there is something about this cave that that you are noticing is like off, right? Like there is as if like it wasn't always here. There are just little bits of information here and there. Like there's like a rock that maybe is like like looks like it was moved just slightly. There is like the pool itself, sort of like there's no stain on the wall where the stagnant water would have cut into the wood a little bit or made the wood, like waterlogged. Yeah, so there's just like lots of little things letting you know like not a real cave or not a real tree cave, I guess.
Okay. Sorry. I was verbatim writing what you said. Okay.
Sure.
I got this, guys. Ready?
Oh my god.
Send it.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. Anyway, so Nadja is going to obviously investigate because Motham has asked to see if she can see anything with her skills. So she's gonna kind of look around the area, kind of step around them a little bit. She's going to kind of lean in and sniff a little bit and which probably looks a little bit weird to everybody else, but she's doing her normal stuff. And so she's going to lean back and just kind of look at Motham, and she's going to tell him, there's something not right with this. It's like it's here. Obviously, it's here. But if you look, and she's going to point, and she's going to say, you can see that the fruit is real. It smells real. It's probably very real. So there's probably, there's something that's putting it there clearly. But here's the thing. The cave is not quite like, if you look like right there, it's not flush up against the ground. It's like it's not supposed to be there. And if you look at that in there, and she's kind of pointing, and she's just kind of like pointing out the little intricacies that she sees, that the information that you gave, us, which is basically like, look, there's no waterlog marks, there's no, it doesn't flush up against the wall, it's not real wood, it's like it's not here, but it's here. Does this make sense?
Yes. And he's gonna take his sword. He's just gonna kind of like poke the wall, I guess, like at the entrance, So like as she's describing, right? So he's kind of like looking at all the things she's describing. And, like as she's talking about like how it doesn't line up, he kind of takes his sword. He kind of just like pokes it, almost like while he's looking at it,
Yeah, it gives way like sort of like a bag that has like something soft in it.
I'm gonna poke it a little bit harder.
How hard are you gonna poke it?
Nadja is gonna back up a little bit and slowly start to pull out her bow.
Yeah, I have. Since we got to the cave entrance, I am no longer photography.
no
so
longer map making.
Yeah, there's no point in mapping inside of a cave, so I was thinking we're gonna go inside, but
Sure.
now we're investigating.
So once you start poking it, if you don't stop poking it, eventually
I've only poked it twice, so
right. Well, sorry, I meant like so like the second time, if you're gonna poke it harder,
let me describe what I do.
Yeah.
So the first time he just kind of poked it, almost like expecting it to be hard, just kind of like
right,
like kicking a tire to see if there's air in it. Doesn't really do anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then when it gives way, he kind of like looks like peculiarly like, oh, they didn't expect that, like momentum, and like he kind of like shifts his weight a little more into like a more of a square stance up into like the wall, and he just kind of like rests his sword on it, and then just kind of like pushes, almost like if you're pushing on your skin, like just hard enough to like just before it hurts, like that. Like,
right.
What is that in there?
Yes. So you do that until you hear and everyone can hear this sort of low creak, and the moment that this sort of reaches like a peak, right? It's sort of like a, and then you hear like a as your sword cuts through a bit of the creature that is this cave, or this tree cave, and suddenly the colors of the inside of the cave and the outside all flash into like more of a sort of like a gray, scaly, like, and the leather, gross, outward appearance of the creature that you have injured slightly as you poked it, and the mouth of it shuts almost on top of you, but none of you actually went into the cave. And you see now sort of rising up, the top of it is actually a bit of tree, sort of that is like it's wearing as like a hat and there is this just toothless maw that is as wide as the pool, and it's sort of this like gross like not quite sludge, but it is slick with with like a mucus that it has started to exude as basically as soon as it started moving, um and it turns and starts to walk away from the clearing that you are all in, and like doesn't look back, but it is like maybe 15 feet wide, like 10 foot tall, with with this like sort of weird tree hat that is growing on it. um but yeah, you just see this weird gray creature like walk away from you guys.
I'm sorry. That's walking away.
And it walks into the trees and sort of like it, and it's weird. It's not like breaking the trees, but it's definitely like scraping against them as if as if it's too big for the trees, but the trees sort of like seem to be letting it through in a weird way. They kind of seem to bend at the tops a little bit as it's walking through the forest on its way out. Um, and then you sort of see like the pool now is like it's sort of fills in the hole that the creature was sitting in and pretending to be the tree cave. And the tree fruits are still there in the baskets. Yeah, this thing like seemed like it was trying to lure you into its toothless gape
Mm-hmm.
How's that for
unsuccessfully.
a save?
Well then, not not sure about that one.
I
Think
guess
you
I
can
gotta
kill it?
redo my maps.
We
I'm
don't
gonna go.
need to kill it. It's not messing with us.
I didn't kill it.
Imagine the money it was worth.
It might not have been worth anything besides one of our lives.
I
I'm
poked
not
it.
Fair
sure
enough.
that killing it is a good idea yet. I mean, we could, but we've been
Seems
doing well so
friendly
far.
enough.
Not having to fight anything.
I'm gonna eat a fruit. I walk over to the fruit and pick one up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not just gonna flinch and immediately wince and try not to like look and see what's gonna happen to him.
So I take my sword, holding the fruit in my hand. I take my sword and I just kind of like cut it in half, and I drop the other half on the ground. And then I take my sword and just kind of like cut off a little chunk that's like bite size, I guess, for me to eat.
Sure. So you cut into it, and again, it's like sort of like a pomegranate color outside, but like, with like the sort of bulbousy bits that would, like as if it was a cluster of something, but it's clearly just one fruit, and as you cut into it, it like squeals a little bit, like just like a, and the inside of it is like a purpley ooze color, and it's not oozing, but it's sort of like this, this like you know gross like
Like a
gray
kiwi?
purple,
Like slimy like
like
a
so,
kiwi? Kind of thing?
yeah, slimy like a kiwi, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, or like a mango, I guess. But
Yeah, okay.
it's like purple gray on the inside, and it doesn't seem to have any seeds in it. There's no pit. And the you take a little bit of it and take a bite, and It kind of tastes like a bit like if you were to have like a tea but with grapes in it. And it, so it's a little bit, it's a little bit like that kind of like tartness, but but there's like an aftertaste of grape sweet. And the you think that it is okay after maybe 30 seconds. You don't feel any adverse effects.
Yeah, I'm like chewing it, and I'm like, yeah, I'm like thinking about it as I'm chewing it, and I cut off the second piece and I plop it in my mouth, and I turn and I kind of just toss the other half of it at Nadia, and I'm like, it's not bad. I kind of toss it over to her.
Nadia's going to literally just step to the other side and watch it fall to the ground. She's not touching the screaming fruit. It said noise. It made noise.
And again, we'll try to
Eating
catch
a
it.
living thing.
What do you mean it made a noise? It made a... That was my sword cutting it.
Was that the sword, Agosa?
No.
Or was it making a noise?
No, it made like a little noise.
It made a
It
squeak.
made a little squeak, right? It made a
Yeah.
little like, it hurt me. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah. Just a little one.
Oh,
heard
she
it.
speaks fruit now?
No, I don't
Where did
know
she
what
learn
it
that
is.
language?
Look,
Is that on your character
that-
sheet?
Not
Speaks
Yes,
fruit?
it is. It's right here. Right here. I have 5 languages: Common,
Yeah.
Elvish, Orc, Sylvan, and Fruit.
Fruit, yeah, okay.
So, come on.
New,
understand apples and
ranger
oranges, but not
spell. Speak
cucumber.
with fruits.
Speak with fruits. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Homebrew at its finest.
Right. Nadia's just gonna have step to the side, obviously, and she's just gonna fold her arms about her chest, and she's gonna be like, "It made a noise." I don't know about any other fruit when you cut into it that it makes a noise, but that made a noise. I'm not eating a living fruit.
It's just releasing, it's just air trapped in between, the... He's kind of like looking at it, like while he's describing it. He's like, yeah, okay. And he kind of just like, just like drops the fruit, like he was like on the ground, and he's like, oh yeah, it tastes pretty good. Actually, you know what? I bet these are worth something. He's gonna grab like 3 of them and put them in his backpack.
Okay.
How big are they?
They're like pomegranate size, like like
How big's the pomegranate? Like an apple?
like if you
Like a softball, right?
like-
Than an apple.
like if you spread your fingers out fully and grasp, that's
Yeah,
about
it's about the size of a softball.
Yeah.
Have you
Yeah.
held a softball?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's roughly the size of a mature large
Boob.
pomegranate.
yeah.
A boob.
A mature boob as
Yeah.
well. Yes.
One
mature
boob.
One
Yeah.
boob.
Yeah, I mean, there are lots of differently sized boobs out there, guys, but
A large boob.
but okay.
Well,
I'm
part of-
good.
Yeah.
Look, it is
One
a
good
handful.
boob.
It's
One
a
boob.
handful of boob, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
So we're
good.
measuring fruit now, just boobs.
Yeah.
Right.
It's boob size.
Yeah, what? Yeah, it's like the opposite of how you measure boobs. It's like, was this but it doesn't work the other way because the fruit is the way that you know what size that the boob is.
Right? That's how you know.
Yeah.
There's a whole meme, which is a total side thing, but there's a whole meme about boob sizes, and like I think it compares to like either fruit and or birds. I'll have to find it, but it's like a whole video, and it's like a cup, and then it shows you a bird, and that's
Yeah.
it's so good.
How
I'll
many-
have to find it.
How many birds is your chest?
How many birds
That's
is
funny.
your chest?
You
Yeah.
are 2 parrots.
That's
Congratulations.
hilarious. Yeah. And I don't want it to be
Half of your
round
chest.
birds. I want it to be like
Misshapen.
like a fucking emu.
Half an emu of
How
Yeah.
many ostriches are you?
Yeah,
How many
exactly.
ostriches are you?
And how much mobility do you not have?
How much
Oh
movement
my
speed do you lose?
God.
Anyway, yeah.
Dexterity is
So
1.
While they're
Yeah.
going back and forth on this whole fruit thing, I'm
Mhm.
pulling my cartography stuff back out to redo
Sure.
the area since I
Yeah,
No.
you're in the area, so you don't really miss anything.
Cave, got up and walked
I drew
away.
a cave. I
Right.
got up and walked away, so I gotta
Right. Sure. I guess that's important.
Could that be part of what he's mapping? Like, could he be mapping the wildlife as well? Like, making little notations down at the bottom of, like, the wildlife we run into?
Yeah, you can do
Well,
that.
I
if you
pictured
want.
that
Not
he's
really a
sketching
part
it.
of it.
Like,
Yeah,
it's a
that's fine.
cartographer, right? Wouldn't you sketch landmarks anyway?
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
you would,
Yeah.
yeah, but that's what I mean. It's just like, could we put a
Meanwhile,
little-
Howl's moving fucking castle over here. This wall.
Mhm.
I love it. I wanna
Yeah.
live in
Alright.
it.
I'm gonna
Okay.
grab
Yeah.
3
So you
fruit.
grab 3 fruits. Yes. I'm gonna. We'll call them tea fruits.
3 tea fruits.
Okay, 3 tea fruits. And you do so like you grab 3. There's probably like 15 more. You know, you don't have to grab them all, obviously, but and the tree that they're on is this sort of like, it's not very big. It's about 6 foot, and maybe like they're hanging off of it like bananas would, on a banana tree.
Fair enough.
I just jump and grab like 4 or 5.
Yeah,
That
sure.
fit in.
Yeah, you can put them in a bag or whatever.
Yep.
Be specific because I'm marking off how many you take.
5.
5. All right. 5 tea fruits.
I
All right.
grabbed nothing.
You grab nothing. All right, fair enough.
What do you guys think of
what
the
ab-
wood? Should we grab a branch?
Do you think we could? Do you think that we can actually get a branch? I mean, is a
Well-
branch enough?
I don't know. What if it squeaks at us?
If it squeaks at us, we definitely don't take it because that means it's alive and it's gonna come back and eat us.
That means we definitely take it. It's worth some
Well-
money.
Hey, big guy. Take this axe and swing at it. See if it screams. If it screams, it's good.
Yeah, all right. He puts the sword away and pulls the hatchet out.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like almost 8 feet tall. Can I reach just like a branch that's there, like kind of low hanging?
Yeah, so what kind of tree are you going for, I guess? So are
there
you
a
going
fruit
for
tree?
the trees in the forest?
Aren't we standing right
That's
in
a
front of a
fruit
fruit tree?
tree.
Oh, the fruit tree.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yes. Sorry. Yes. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, the fruit tree is only like 6 foot tall. And
Oh, so
it
it's tiny.
yeah, it's a small tree. Yeah. And like you could, it doesn't really have like a lot of branch on it. It's more like just like leaves and then the fruit sort of sticking out of these like bushy leaf clusters. Like in order to take the whole thing, you kind of need to take the whole thing down to get any substantial amount of wood
Oh,
from it.
let's rewind all the way back then. I thought we were standing in front of a tree.
Mhm.
Yeah,
But
I thought
I
it was
wouldn't
like
even
big
suggest
oak.
it then. Yeah.
No,
Rip
sorry.
off the entire tree.
Yeah.
Nope. Didn't say that. We're still
Gotcha.
standing there. Let's move on.
Yeah,
Rip
yeah.
out the
So,
entire tree.
I will say that the I think now that I'm thinking about it, the creature that moved away, it was wearing a tree, and there's a little bit of tree debris like from it moving. There's like a few roots that were like kind of like had planted themselves in the ground, but then were ripped up as it moved away. So like you could grab maybe, I would say like a campfire's amount of like twig type tree stuff from it if you'd like.
Yeah, I'll grab one of the belts out of my bag that we got, and I'll grab like like a cord, I guess, or yeah, the smallest amount, I guess, like a little bundle of like different sized logs and roots, and
Mhm.
I kind of put them on a nice even pile on top of the belt, and I wrap the belt around and I pull it tight, and then I'm just gonna strap the belt to like the bottom of my backpack, so like it stays, just kind of there against my backpack,
That's
like
smart.
using the same belt.
Nadja's gonna lean down and pick up a couple of the fruit, and she's gonna pull them up and she's gonna whisper to them, "I'm sorry," and then she's gonna put them in her pouch.
Okay.
And then
So two fruits.
just 2.
Okay.
I grabbed the fruit that my Muffin taught, or no, the fruit that fell onto the floor that Muffin threw at Naja.
Oh yeah, the one that is already cut.
Already open.
Yeah, like the half one.
Yeah.
Just pick it up and like walk up next to Naja and like try to like slowly pull things out of it, like the little things, and see if it makes noise.
Oh well, it's not like pomegranate fruit that has the like the little nodules. It's the interior is solid.
I think what he means is if it screams again, if it makes any kind
Yeah.
of like ee
Oh.
at her and she hears
Right.
it.
Right. Yes.
Okay. Would she hear it?
It does not.
Okay, then he just starts to munch it.
Yeah. It tastes good.
Naja just
You know,
shakes her head.
tea and grape sweetness.
Nom, nom, nom.
Is there any other tree twigs or anything that were left behind that need to be taken?
Not anything substantial. Like like the stuff that Mothin picked up is like the whole
Core of it.
bit of it. Yeah, that there's maybe like twigs that are very very small, but they wouldn't be worth
Value.
much. Yeah.
Okay.
You know, even the what you do have, it's like, you know, maybe like 2 logs, a couple of branches, and then like, you know, littler bits that maybe somebody could find some use for as like tinder or something.
Sure.
But you know, it's like it's something. People don't
How
get
many?
wood.
Sorry.
How many what?
Like how many fruit are left in the tree?
So you got there's about 10 more fruit.
Should we take the rest of the fruit, or do you not care for them?
We don't know how much they're worth, so it's up to you what you take.
That's good. You want to carry more of these? You can help carry. Just mapping anyway. Just like throws them a few fruit.
He's busy mapping, so it smacks him in the face.
Yeah, the fucking instrument that.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, I definitely get smacked by them. And then I just ignore it and leave them on the ground.
You're no
He says
fun,
no.
map man.
I'm just trying to be practical here.
Ah, you're too smart for the fucking forest, mate.
Maybe.
And then, can I observe like how thick is the tree? Is it like a good-sized tree? Is it like a little?
The tree that the fruit is coming off of?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like maybe like 2 feet around roughly.
So it's like a small tree.
Yeah, it's a small tree.
Hey, big guy, you want to chop it down for me? I'll carry it.
Nah, I think I'm
Oh.
gonna pass on cutting down the little tree. We got some sticks and whatnot
We
off
should
of
keep
the
the
walking one.
fruit tree around because it'll keep replenishing the fruit. And now we have a map. You see a map that can get us back to this tree. You got the tree, right?
Yes. It is on the map.
I think we should get going before it starts to get dark.
Agreed.
Well then, let us head out. I'll lead you. You'll lead me.
Yeah. And yeah, it's I'd say you spend another, you know, maybe 30 minutes or so in the clearing. And then you know, so it's probably around 1 p.m. ish. As you guys have been traveling through.
While we keep walking, Malcolm will pull out his kind of like reach into his like one of the little side pockets in his backpack, and he pulls out like a little cloth bundle, you know, like it's like part of his ration, you know, and it pulls off, it breaks off a piece of bread and eats it, and kind of like puts wraps it back up again and stuffs it back in his backpack.
So practical you are.
Yup. Fruit and bread. It's a good lunch.
Fruit and bread. Gotta eat it.
To
Yep.
clarify, are we continuing forward or are we going back?
Running
Yeah,
into the
that's up
woods.
to you guys.
Being
Yeah, that
midday, I suppose we could head back. Probably, hopefully, get back to the town, by nightfall. But at the same time, and he taps his backpack. I'm prepared to sleep in the forest, and he's got like a bedroll and a blanket or whatever and everything all in his bag.
I can as well, but I'd prefer not to.
Well, what if we head? I don't know what direction we were going, but I guess what if we head east and then go south? Would that make sense? I don't know if we went north into the forest or whatever, but
So
Sure,
essentially take a right turn and then
yeah.
Yeah, we'll
Question.
say you guys were so the forest is like east of the town.
So I
So
guess we'll
if
turn
you're
north and then go
yeah.
back, then go west.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
Okay, so before we leave, how are the trees in the area? Are there very few trees in the area we're in?
Right, yeah. So the clearing that you're in is maybe one tree, one tree, one tree, and then the pond, which is like no trees are in the pond, which is kind of why it's a clearing. And then but then when you go into the forest proper, it's like tree, 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 tree,
Yeah,
tree.
thicker.
Hmm.
Could I, how tall are the trees?
It's same as
Same.
they were, so 20 to 30 feet ish.
I have an idea, but just in case, could you hold on to this big guy, please? And hands him takes out of his backpack the rope that the that the merchant gave him, gives him the end of it and ties it around him. He's like, I'll have a scouring mission up above, and starts to climb the tree.
Sure, yeah. Um,
Acrobatics.
yeah. Go ahead and climb. Give me a climbing check with the
16.
acrobatics. Cool. Yeah. Same sort of thing. It's a bit tricky because it seems like the forest is kind of pushing back on you, but you find a way
Yeah.
through, and you look out over the expanse of the forest, and whether it's sort of magical or natural means, you really can't see anything of note. There is uh, a wide variety of trees coming up out of sort of coming up out of the canopy, sort of like waves. There's a taller
Yeah.
bit here and a taller bit there, and but there's just not any there's not any
Anything
sort
to
of
see.
landmarks, or yeah, there's no flags or anything like that would let you know which direction you're supposed to be
Could
looking,
I
other
see the spire?
than from this far out. It
Because
doesn't
it looked
look like you can see where the town is.
okay.
So what direction you've sort of been walking, which would be east, right? So
Yeah.
if you look back
West.
west, it's almost as if there's a sort of a fog, you know,
Yeah.
at a certain distance
Yeah. So you can't see
in the
that far.
forest, right?
I guess
Yeah, so
west
you
sounds
can
right.
see a few hundred feet in every direction, but
Yeah.
then it gets rather difficult beyond that.
Yeah. So I just wrote down.
Okay. Yeah. So you go ahead and drop down. There
And
is
repack the rope.
Yep. Go ahead.
Thank you for holding it. Muffin.
No problem.
Thank you. Also, something of note. I went 20 feet upward. You can use that as a safe distance of how far we can leap, maybe. Because the trees are like 20 feet, right?
Yeah. Um, you mean like without you guys getting lost from
Yeah,
each other?
yeah.
I mean, it's at least that much, I suppose. You kind of get the sense as you guys have been walking through here, like it's a bit more than, just being a few uh steps away from each other, right? Like you would like really need to get lost in order to be separated.
So it's like beyond vision distance.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. That is my
Mhm.
part.
Great. Yeah, how do you guys want to proceed?
Most of them said we are heading north now.
Just so we're not retracing our steps exactly. So I had, I guess I head out of the clearing north then instead of back the way we came.
Okay. Sure. Yeah, you start sort of heading in a different direction. Um, the uh, the forest is relatively the same as it was as you entered it on the other side of the clearing, and you guys continue forward for a little while. Who would like to do your survival check for this leg of the journey?
Are you mapping?
Yep.
All right.
Map boy.
I got an 8 this time.
Oh,
I'm
man.
mapping the
Wow.
world.
Meg.
Look, man, I can't help my rolls. They're crap today.
I mean, there
Walks
was
into trees.
one.
Right?
Yeah, there was like one good one.
I've
you
hit
There was
know.
like,
four
I
nat
got 2 good
20s.
rolls out of all of them. 2
Oh,
good
no.
rolls.
I've hit
Oh,
4 nat
no.
20s.
All right. What'd you get, Max?
8, I think.
We sure someone else wasn't rolling? I mean,
Yeah.
like
I mean,
You got bad
I
rolls
just
too?
assumed. I guess I'm.
Well, because Max is in the front and I'm in the back.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah.
but you know what they
We're
say
doing
about
it.
people up in the front, like they're not the best at survival rolls.
Okay, well, look, man,
Indeed.
I'm trying my hardest too, and we're bad at this. Okay,
Okay.
We're not the greatest adventurers.
I want to make this very clear. We're going
Yeah.
with my roll.
All right.
I already rolled a 1.
Oh my god.
I rolled it a while ago.
No, you're not
As soon
going.
as you said about survival, I could roll. I rolled a 2
Yeah.
actually. It's a 1 plus 1. So,
Mm-hmm.
Fuck
Ooh.
off.
and then you guys
That's
were like,
my
"All
roll.
right, Max, roll it up," and I'm like, eh,
All right.
"Okay."
Maybe I should roll from now on.
So,
You
uh,
get lost.
yeah. So this time, before it was sort of like, yeah, okay, I think we're heading generally the right direction. Even when you were, even when you like weren't totally sure where you were going, it was like, oh, we're not lost. But now
It's over.
you're under a canopy that you can't see the sun, and you've sort of gotten turned around a bit. um your only saving grace is that you have been mapping where you've been.
Thank you, Jesus.
So if you look at the map, it's very clear that you sort of got off track at some point. Because
Oh, shit.
if you're comparing the map, directions like to where you were going, now you're heading a different direction, and and if you have cartographer's tools, you also have a compass, and the compass works. So despite doing your best to get completely lost, at some point Ansgar says that you are going completely east again, and then you redirect your direction back north, and then at that point you're like, well, we might as well go west. So nothing really happens, but you don't really find anything either. And you spend the rest of basically the rest of the day traveling. So you don't get anything useful during that leg of the journey.
I imagine we come out of the forest then at some point during that.
Yes. So you must spend all of your time trying to get out of the forest, or it will be dark before you get out of the forest. Those are
And
the
then we
options.
still have to stay in the forest.
You don't necessarily have to stay in the forest if it's dark, but maybe as sort of another lore point, dark forest bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
kind of assumed in my head.
Motham's leading us out. Like if we're lost and we're burning daylight, like I got to a point where he went, "Fucking, where are we?" And then
Yeah,
you
and
know,
you
he
haven't
told
like
us,
found any new landmarks. You are
Right.
just in the deep forest.
Okay.
So time to
Flesh.
get out.
While we are completely lost in fuck knows where,
Mm-hmm.
could I use animal spirit form to transform into a hawk for a bird?
Okay, yeah, sure.
So, you see Gen, like, he announces to party, I will scout. Better this time. Trust me. You'll want to see this. And he, like, gets enveloped in shadow and starts to shrink. And as the shadows, like the dark shadows disappear around him, there's a bird standing there. And the bird starts to talk. I will look from the skies. We cannot get lost if I am from there.
I don't think that's a good idea.
You don't think so?
No. And he points up at the like massive canopies like over our head and the thick trees and branches, and I think the moment you get above that tree line, we're not gonna see each other until we get back to town. This
You wanna
forest
try
has a
rope?
tendency to hide things which you cannot see, and once you're out of our sight, I wouldn't imagine we're gonna find each other very easily.
Wrap a rope around. I shall grab the rope and I shall come back straight to you.
Mothim will look at Nadia and you're like, what do you think?
Just kind of shrug and be like, well, we can give it a try. We can give it a
Hey.
good solid go. But I don't know though there's going to be enough rope to tie, and also to not make, would the rope be too heavy for him and hinder him to the ground?
Yeah, it is rope,
Tying it to
not
his foot.
string.
Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe.
it's a rope. Yeah. So like, how would we tie a rope around your talon and not hurt you and or weigh you down?
You have a point.
I think it might be
Notch is
best.
just going to
Oh, go ahead.
lean over and pat the burb and just be like, good try. Good try.
I
Well-
didn't know you could turn into a bird, though. That's kind of terrifying.
I can become many things.
Does that hurt?
Not really. More like you get enveloped by a shadow and your form shifts, spirit changes. Quite relaxing to be in my real form as an animal. Brings peace to my body.
So
Notch
you're
is just gonna make. Go ahead.
oh,
sorry.
your natural form is a bird.
No, I prefer a rat. It is what I was born as. But I can become most small things. I learned to perfect it with my parents. Shapeshifting.
I'm sorry. You a rat?
Yep. Born and raised. Then after a few years, started to shift back human, half hybrid, back again. Mostly when I sneeze.
Not just gonna lean over and pick up the burb, and she's gonna carry it carefully over to Motham, and she's gonna put him on them shoulders.
Yep. I'll just gladly like sit on his shoulder.
Gave you a pet.
All I have
You're
to say
much
is,
welcome.
if you just had to turn into a rat, you better not chew any holes in my shit.
Don't worry about it.
Better
I
not
don't
get
mind
chewy.
carrying you, but
Thank you. I shall provide eyes for you.
I'd appreciate that. And he'll kind of like take his finger because it's huge and just kind of like almost like pat like between like your eyes, I guess, right? Like in your forehead,
Mhm.
right? He just kind of like pats you and then just
Happy bird
Accidentally pokes
noises.
an eyeball.
yeah.
Oh my god.
Just blinds him permanent.
Just accidentally misses and hits a bulb.
Whoop.
Bird just fucking flops to the floor, pain, dies.
Well, time for a new party member.
Time, right? Exactly.
Good thing I
Anyway.
gave Link some gear.
Right? He's our new party member, right? Not just gonna motion for Motham to lead the way.
Yep,
And
Motham
she's
will
just gonna kind of resume
continue.
behind.
Yeah.
All
Make
right.
sure that, our map boy isn't getting lost in trees. I say that because we got lost in trees, but
Well, yeah.
I got us back on track, though. Don't worry.
you know.
So you turn and head toward the outside of the forest. It doesn't, it's sort of strange. You you feel like it's almost easier leaving the forest. There is a bit of sort of clarity as you begin to move towards the exit with the intention of getting to the edge of the forest, and it does take you most of the rest of the day. Maybe only about an hour or so left of sunlight by the time you reach the forest's edge, but the Tithril forest lets you out into a bit of just grassland that is, you kind of know that you're a bit north of the town that you had come from.
Well, almost home. I guess we'll head.
Want me to scout you a good way?
Yeah, I mean, I will. Just do that, and we're gonna head back to the town, right? Like that's
Yeah,
where we're at.
yeah.
You can see now, so
Yeah, and you can see now, like you're close enough to, sort of see like the spire and
Yeah.
the edge of town, and yeah, and you kind of notice like when you're not looking out over the tops of the forest, you do recognize like, yeah, I think I can see farther. There's definitely something going on
Yeah.
in the forest that
Yeah.
that makes it harder to
Even with the
orient.
the eagle vision.
Yeah, even like as you are looking, you kind of turn your head toward the forest, and it's like sort of just a blur of green, and the canopy doesn't look
hides it.
like anything. Yeah, like it is. Not only is the canopy hiding the ground of the forest, but it is also sort of like you can't pick any specific trees out, and like you can't like
Yeah.
make it, to like if you feel like as if you were traveling towards a one tree that you're looking at, you might not be traveling in a straight line or something, like you get
Okay.
a weird feeling when you're doing it, right? It's hard to orient yourself
Yeah.
when you're looking at the forest.
Could I see any other landmarks, like a distant town or village?
Oh, sure, yeah. So there is a mountain range farther north, like very far, right? The mountains look small, but they are noticeable if you're high up. But they're like, probably a good 3 days journey if you were not stopping. There is also there's also a river that sort of runs alongside the it's not alongside the forest, but it's like on the other side of the town, and it sort of cuts around and south, from like south to north. It kind of winds its way backward and forward over the east west line, kind of here and there through the larger sort of prairie or grassland that is not the forest. Those are like the big landmarks that you can see from here, and then like if you look even farther beyond the river, there are maybe a couple of small towns that have like little harbors or something like that, and then there is there is a few boats going up and down the river, but then also there is like a another sort of like not a forest but like a marshland that is beyond the river, toward the west, and that's fairly large.
Alright, which
Maybe
way was the river? If I may ask?
the river is west, is like if you yeah, so it's west of you, which is you're heading like south now, so it's to your right. Um, but beyond the river is like maybe like a mile away, and then
Yeah.
beyond that is the marshland, where people like get their wood from, but it's not great wood.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
And I'll return to Theron, not
Hmm.
just shoulder, and just like relay the information back to her and the party.
Yee.
I
Hello,
think we
Naja.
should just. Oh, did you relay the information? Or you were going
Yeah.
to relay the information?
No, I relayed it, but just like,
Yeah, but we just
hello,
heard it from
I
your voice.
returned.
Okay. Okay. I think we should still head towards the town. That's just
Yep.
me.
Agreed.
Okay.
Agreed.
Yeah, Motham had already kind of started walking towards the town, so
Yeah.
Sounds good. Yeah.
They'll follow suit to get through the tree line.
So you guys easily enough make your way to the town, and you see Rivar's cart outside of the tavern that you had met him. It's all closed up for the evening. You knock on the back door of the cart, and he is inside. You hear a little shuffle around, and he kind of pokes his head out and is like, "Oh, almost thought you for dead in there. Why don't you take the night, and we'll discuss things in the morning. It's getting a bit late. Sun's already down." And and he said, "I already paid for lodging at the inn here, and he points at the tavern / inn that you guys are next to, and gives you uh, a single key. And he says, "Oh yeah, I got the suite, so you don't have to. Well, so it's a few beds, and you should be good to go." So, and he hands you the key, and sort of goes to shut the back of the cart, unless you wanted to say something else to him.
As he's
Run,
closing
coach.
it, he just
Nope.
Mothram just kind of goes, "Thanks," like, yeah.
Thank you,
All
friend.
right. Yeah, he closes up the cart.
He doesn't question the fucking bird. Talking to him.
Oh, right. Yeah. He's. I mean, he probably he probably like blinks his eyes a couple times and like shrugs and then goes back to bed. Like he's like he just woke up, so maybe he's just seeing things.
Losing his mind.
Yeah, and then you guys make your way inside. There aren't really any people there. There's like one of the vagabonds is still sort of sleeping, and is like sleeping at a table in the corner, and the the tavern keep that was there is not there, but sort of the night watch, there's a sort of a lean but menacing looking little halfling woman is like sitting there sharpening a small battle axe, and she sees you come in, and she's like, you got a key?
I hold it up.
Yeah. All right. And she just goes back to sharpening her battle axe.
Have a good night.
Same to you. And
Welcome. I think we found your wife.
Eh.
I think it's
like-
her.
she's like, yeah, I like him taller.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
Battle axes aren't my type. All right. I prefer a woman with
For
a
you-
sword.
I was like, you should say I prefer a woman with
she
a sword, but
she like
never mind.
slams the battle axe down, pulls out a long sword, starts sharpening that.
That's my type.
He's just a fucking great sword in the pocket.
Just angry grating. Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Well, we did see a creature out in the forest, so it's quite tall. Might want to go check it out.
Mm-mm.
Oh,
Nanda's
no.
just gonna start
I'm-
climbing the stairs, trying to get to bed.
Yeah,
She's ready
yeah,
to go.
yeah.
She's like, I'm ready. I'm done.
Yeah, Motham's heading up to the room. He's gonna go to the number on the key or whatever and
Mhm.
unlock the
Yeah,
door.
so there's no number on the key, but all of the doorknobs are colored, and the key is the same color as the. It is it's sort of like a blue it's not a gemstone, but it looks like a gemstone color. Sort of like as if it was magically altered in a way, and you see a like similar gem that is colored the same as your key at the end of the hallway, and it is it's like the only door with one of these like big gems in it at the moment.
All right, I walk up and open the door.
Before you even are able to get the key out to like open the door, the crystal sort of glows, the key glows a little bit, and the door pops open without you touching it. And inside you see a very lovely, but sort of cozy little suite. There is a small like wood stove that has a pot on it if you wanted to make things. There's a there is a small bit of furniture, like 2 seats and whatnot, but then there's 4 doors on the on each on one on each corner of the room basically, and all of those are like slightly open, and you can peer inside each of them, and they have very comfy looking beds, and there's like a fruit bowl on the like table in the main room, and it's like a sort of like the nice room, or the grand suite for this inn.
Not just gonna move past Motham, and she's gonna be like, "I get the big room," and then she's just gonna start running.
Sure, they're all the same size,
I
but
figured, but she's just gonna do it anyway, just to be a
Yeah,
brat,
yeah.
and then just run to a door, and then just run in, and that's her room.
sure, yeah, and
Good
yeah,
night.
you do that.
Shaking his head, he's just like, "Good night." He looks at the bird. He's just like, "You going to bed, or you got animal things to do?" And he
My
walks
head.
over and opens the window. Like, if are you leaving? You staying? What are you doing?
I'm gonna head to bed as well. Might as well.
All right.
Better
Kinda
rest than none. And he transformed back into his hybrid form.
So like as you start transferring back, he kind of like flicks you forward, so like you're not in his hand anymore.
Yeah, just in,
Like, "Ah."
in his fucking face.
Sitting on your shoulder.
Yeah,
Oh.
fat, massive human just appeared.
I look over at and was it Onskier, right? Onskier?
Onskar, yeah.
Onskier.
Oscar.
I'm like, how'd the map making go?
I think I'm well enough. Might be able to make a copy and sell it if we're lucky.
Yeah, I think tomorrow maybe we should, or at least in one of the next couple days, we should try and retrace our steps a bit. Might be worth seeing how the forest changes based on the landmarks.
True.
Well,
Right. I'm gonna go to bed now.
I'm gonna do the same. You enjoy your evening. I'm gonna
Useful.
make sure the main door gets shut. I'm gonna throw like I don't know what the temperature is outside, but I'm gonna light the wood stove anyway because fuck it, it's comfortable.
Okay.
So I'm gonna like, throw a couple logs in the not ones that we got from the forest. I imagine there's wood like in the
Oh
room
yeah,
we
there's
use,
some
right?
wood there. Yeah.
So I'm gonna throw a couple logs in the wood stove. I'm gonna light it. Knowing it'll burn for 4 or 5 hours and
Mm-hmm.
get it going.
Nice and warm.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna after like maybe 20 minutes of getting that going, I'm just gonna get up and peel all my gear off, and then put on my common pajamas that I have, mostly just a pair of pants, and then I'm gonna go to bed.
All
The
right.
not safe for work D&D session with Max Anthem right here.
Yeah. Only a pair of pants.
Only.
So as
Only
he
his
slowly
common
puts his
clothes.
pants on,
Hey girl, I know you
Oh
like
my
common
God.
clothes.
he's like,
Small
knock,
clothes.
knock,
Ay, ay,
anyone
ay.
in there?
Small clothes. And on Motham, they're actually small clothes.
Right, yeah.
Oh,
Oh my.
All he has on
yeah.
is a pair of shoes.
Yeah, wow. It's boots time. Anyway, so you all head to bed.